What is good, Raider Nation? We're gonna go live today during the game. Hopefully this works. I don't know if my computer is strong enough to handle going live. Just hopefully you guys can hear me as well. So we're gonna talk about the game today, man. We're gonna be live today during the game, and we're gonna talk about it. I got the game pulled up right in front of me. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the game cast, so you guys actually have something to look at. Um, it's going to be a very interesting game today because Colton Miller, if you guys have not heard, is out. He's out for this game. So the Raiders do not have Colton Miller, which means Jermaine Aluminor starting at left tackle. And on the right side, the Raiders are going to have Thayer Munford start. So we're going to get Thayer Munford an entire game with Thayer Munford. Colton Miller's out. Crazy. I actually reported it yesterday. Someone told me Colton Miller was going to be out, reported it. Some people were like, we'll see if that actually ends up happening. And then if that does, why not start Jackson Barton at left tackle? I don't know exactly why the Raiders decided to do it, but it's going to be very interesting. They got Jermaine Loomer going over to the left tackle spot. They got Thayer Munford coming in at the right tackle spot. So I'm excited, man. I'm definitely excited. Shout out to the 40-ish of you guys that are already here. Big shout out to all you guys. We're gonna talk this entire game. Mike Nixon said, "Let's get that L." Raider Nation. I can understand why some of you guys would not want to win. Joe Nation said, "What app you watching the game on?" So I actually have Xfinity Stream, which allows me to watch it because I have Xfinity. Stream is the platform. But if you guys want to live stream it, you guys can watch it on. I know there's a Reddit one. I think it's called like Reddit Streams. If you guys go to Google and put that in Reddit Streams, you guys can watch it that way. There's a couple other apps out there. Right, Dofu Sports is one. I don't stream it, so I'm not going to stream it. Obviously, you guys know you get banned if you guys stream the game, but I'm going to try being live, man. We got the Amir Abdullah just returned the kick back to the 28-yard line. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to see if I can actually pull up the play-by-play data. See, that way we at least have something to kind of look at. And you guys aren't just looking at me. I see it right here, full play-by-play. I'm going to see if I can pull this up. I don't know if this is going to work. Gamecast. I should have probably tested this before I came here live, but I guess this is cool. It's pretty cool to look at. Let me see if I can present this here. First play of the game, you got a run. Nice little run right there. Let's see. Here you go. Let's share that, and let's see how this looks. There you go. I hope that looks good enough for you guys. Again, I don't know if it's gonna look good. We'll see. If you guys like seeing that, we'll keep it up. Otherwise, we'll just switch it back to me, and you guys can just look at me, I guess. But just make that a little bit bigger so it doesn't look all funky on the screen. I don't know how it's gonna look for you guys, but there it is. Shout out to all you guys, man. 80 of you guys are already here. Raider Chris said, "No Colton Miller. How do you feel about that?" I found this out yesterday. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, I reported this yesterday. And the Raiders, just like that, already in the 3rd and 7. But I talked about this yesterday, actually, that Colton Miller is not going to play. And I gave my thoughts on it. I know Colton Miller is hurt. I know he's going through some injuries. And I do think that Colton Miller being hurt has impacted his game, right? He's not able to anchor. He's getting pushed back. He's getting kind of beat up in pass pro. And I do think that because of those reasons, they decided to just keep him out of the game. And they're going to roll forward with Jermaine Aluminor. So number 72 left tackle is the guy I'm going to be watching. But more than that, I want to see Thayer Munford a little bit at right tackle because, they say, can Munford hold up, right? Is he going to be able to do it for the Raiders? And just like that, you got a Devontae Adams 21-yard pass. That's absolutely awesome right there, man. First pass of the game, Adams smokes a guy. Good pocket, good clean pocket. I can dig that one right there. What's going on, Danny D? Shout out to you for tuning in here. Big shout out to you, Mike Nixon. Thanks, Angie, for the positivity. Shout out to you, man. I really, really appreciate it. Salute, Raider Chris. Salute to you. We're gonna get into this, man. If you guys got comments, man, make sure you guys leave your comments. it's gonna be a slow pace of comments, right? I don't expect more than like 100 people here, really. There's the first run or second run, I should say, 3-4 yards. Okay, that's all right. Not bad right there, not bad. Mike Nixon said, "Love the live show, but you're ahead." I am ahead. It's weird because I know sometimes I'll tweet something and then I don't get any likes for like 3 minutes, and then everyone gets all these likes, or then everybody kind of sees it, right? The play-by-play is really behind, I think. That's kind of crappy. Yeah, because we're already on 2nd and 6, and they haven't even gotten the update in. Got an injury on the field. Sarah said, face Raiders rumors, rants, and reports stream every game. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Or Facebook in your next comment said, Raiders rumors, rants, and reports stream every game. Yeah, I'm going to definitely see if this is something that I will enjoy doing. To be honest, guys, I feel like one of the things with going live is I kind of feel like it's more so work, right? It's kind of like a work thing where I'm not really relaxing watching the game versus when Raiders actually play. It's a relaxed feeling and I enjoy it. So I don't know if I'm going to ever do another live again, but I know today I'm going to go live and we'll see how it kind of goes. If you guys actually enjoy it, then we'll stay live, right? We'll stay live. Obviously, there is one thing that I'm kind of working on with, I forget the company's name, but there's a company that allows me to watch the game with you guys. So we can actually watch the game. We'll all watch it together. But it does require you guys to have like Xfinity or like YouTube, like the paid version of YouTube TV or whatever other platform it may be, right? Direct TV or whatever. And basically everyone logs in to whatever it is. And basically we get to all, as long as you're able to watch the game, we get to all watch it together. That is something that I might do. I don't know if I like this whole like play-by-play thing because I know for you guys, I know it's kind of delayed here on the screen. Watching it from like ESPN, and then for me, I'm actually watching the game. I have it pulled up right next to it in a separate tab. So yeah, I just kind of want to throw that out there. Clint Curry said it's because they clearly don't give a crap anymore, and Mick dog shit is on the hook for that. Yeah, Mike Nixon said some of us can't get Twitter. Even thought of another platform also like Gitter or Gab. Gab, I have not thought about doing. I don't know what Gitter is. I'm gonna assume it's similar to Gab. I might do another platform, right? I know there's a lot of people who don't support Twitter. I think one of the bigger ones out there would be like Truth Social would be one of them, assuming you're not on Facebook or Instagram either, because I have an Instagram, you guys know that. So I might do like an alternative platform. I think that's definitely something I can do. I actually started posting some of my videos on Rumble. If you guys don't know what Rumble is, Rumble's like the second biggest growing platform, I should say, outside of YouTube. And people have really been looking for an alternative to YouTube. So I kind of started posting some of my videos there. Not Raiders videos. It's actually just the second channel that I have. Maybe I'll do Raiders. I'll put my Raiders stuff on there too. So we'll see kind of how that platform grows. Second play, or I don't know why I say second play. Davante Adams, man, is an absolute superstar, dude. It's ridiculous. You guys see it on the screen. I think it's already gotten updated right there. Another pass from Derek to Davante on 2nd and 7. We should just throw it to Davante Adams on every play. Like, I would not be against that at all if the Raiders just say, let's just throw it to this guy every play. Derek's coming out looking good right now. What's going on, Steven? Shout out to you. Darminder said, where is it, guys, watching it? I saw a couple of people recommend some platforms. Clint Curry said NFL Byte. That is one of the platforms that I would definitely consider. NFL Byte is a good one, Dofu Sports, and then Reddit streams. You can Google all of that. It'll all come up. Shout out to you, Clint. Josh Jacobs just lost 5 yards, I think 5-6 yards. Terrible play right there. There's a flag. We'll see what the flag's about. Long John Doe said, why is Colton Miller not playing? Colton Miller is hurt. He has, I think it's an ankle injury or it might be some other type of injury. And he's been playing with that ankle injury. From what I heard, he's had this ankle injury for a part of the season now. And it's kind of crazy that he's actually played through it because I think he's really struggled, right? I think Colton Miller has really struggled because of that injury. And yet he's still playing with it, right? So it's kind of crazy. You guys see the play-by-play says block by Mac Hollins, legal block above the waist. We lose 10 yards. Mac Hollins, man, has been absolutely killing us right now. It's crazy because yeah, Thayer Munford, man, you got to do a better job right there on that block. Not that it would have counted anyways, but Mac Hollins now has, even last week, Mac Hollins had a couple of penalties. One, I think, was a hold, took us back 10 yards. You got to do a better job on that, man. Colton Miller is hurt, though, basically, right? And he's been hurt this entire year. So the Raiders want to see if he can get healthy. Some people are saying the Raiders aren't having him play because they are tanking this season. That could be true, to be honest, you guys. The Raiders could potentially be tanking this season. Although I would say that the Raiders, I don't know if Josh McDaniels is tanking, because from what I've heard from some of the players, the Raiders are not looking to get a quarterback, right? Or at least I shouldn't say they're not looking. That would be the wrong way to say it. The Raiders aren't looking. The Raiders players don't expect the Raiders to get a quarterback. That's what I should say. Right. Obviously, it's not Josh McDaniels speaking. That would be like the actual players. 1st and 20, Derek Carr steps up, and Foster Moore was open. It gets tipped right there by 53. Now we're going to be looking at 2nd and 20. Got to connect right there, man. A little bit of pressure. Let's see. Was that off the Thayer Munford side? Thayer Munford is okay. Never mind. Thayer Munford blocked down Dylan Parham pulls. I think it got tipped twice. I think the line of scrimmage first, and then 53 second. Gotta get that, man. Omar, shout out to you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. You guys know super chats are the way to go. You said, Sanjeev, bro, I think this game and any game is pointless, but put in all the rookies. I would even say let DC rest today. I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. I do think that for the Raiders, let's say you win 4 of the last, how many games left? I think there's 8 games left. Let's say you win 4, you go 4-4 for the rest of the season. You're going to finish 6-11, right? Or whatever it's going to be. What's the point? I agree with you, right? Personally, I want the Raiders to win as much as possible, because for me personally, this is my personal reasons. I get pumped up. I have a better Sunday, then I have a great Monday. I kind of have a great week when the Raiders are winning. But it does suck for our draft, right? Like where we draft, it's going to lower it, right? Devontae Adams picks up a couple of yards right there on 3rd and 20. Probably kick the field goal, I'm going to assume. But I understand what you're saying. Like, first and foremost, the Raiders got to put all their rookies in. 100%, throw your rookies out there. Actually, I think the Raiders are going to punt the football here. It looks like they might punt. I'm not sure, but I think it's kick field goal. Personal reasons, I got Daniel Carlson in every single one of my fantasy leagues. But I get it, right? You want to put them into bad field position. Maybe you stop them 3 and out, you get the ball right back. Either way, yeah, man. I think the Raiders should consider benching Derek Carr. But I will say this. I think the one reason why you don't bench Derek is because if Jarrett Stidham comes into the game and he has a really good game, you're going to start hearing people say, get rid of Derek Carr, right? If Jarrett Stidham can do it, you can go ahead and get a top 10 pick in a rookie who's going to be even better than Stidham. So I feel like for that reason, they're not going to bench Derek Carr. I definitely understand what you're saying, though. And I do want to see all the rookies. Shout out to you for the super chat, man. It really, really does help this channel grow. David said, let's go Raider Dynasty. I hope this is what McDaniels and Ziegler are building, although a lot of people kind of push back against that. Recently, I had this guy who covers the Patriots DM me and say, hey, Josh McDaniels sucks. And he talks shit about Josh McDaniels. And this is a guy that covers the Patriots, right? He has like 15, or I think he has like 19,000 followers on Twitter. He's like a journalist for the Patriots. He thinks Josh McDaniels sucks, and he's not it, right? But I would agree with Mike here, right? McDaniels is solid. You got to give him time, right? You got to give Josh McDaniels time to grow. It is what it is. You got to do it. You got to give the guy time. I hear what you're saying, Mike. You said Rumble for sure. Free speech also on Gitter is like Twitter. Great live features. So I'm gonna have to check that out then. I definitely do need to get on the alternative platforms, right? Because I've actually known people, right? People that I know that have gotten their monetization just taken away because they post NFL content. It's one of the reasons why I don't try to do as many film breakdowns. When I first started this YouTube channel, I used to film breakdowns all the freaking time. Film breakdowns all the time. And some of these people that I know got their channels demonetized for doing that. Even using videos of like from ESPN, NFL Network, stuff like that, to kind of make your video have a better feel to it. I kind of stopped doing that because I don't want to get demonetized. Like, it would be the worst thing for me to get demonetized because I rely on my YouTube income, right? Obviously it's a full-time job for me, right? But I need to see if I can get onto one of these platforms. Shout out to you. I really do appreciate it. MNZ said dumpster fire game. I didn't mention this, by the way, but that was a really, really nice pump by AJ Cole. It's crazy because the Raiders, I think, have a top 5 punter and a top 5 kicker. And this year, because we're 2-7, it doesn't really feel like we're really utilizing these guys that much, right? And we're 2-7, so I get it. That's kind of why we might not be utilizing these guys as much. It's crazy because this play-by-play data is actually ahead of the game. I see right here that Russell Wilson just picked up a 15-yard pass, and I'm about to watch the play right to my left. So that's crazy. Yeah, it looks like we got a little bit of pressure, but Russell Wilson was able to get out of the pocket and make the pass. Got to do a better job right there, man. Absolutely have to do a better job. Excessive Master Raider said JJ tried pulling a Marcus Allen. Yeah, man. Josh Jacobs that's not his game. I did a film breakdown, and one of the things I was noticing with it on my last one was the guy was trying to like run away from where his actual hole was and his actual lane was. And that's not his game, man. You got to hit your hole. You got to hit your gap. Luke Masterson, man, 1st and 10 right there. Makes a play, 4-yard gain. Makes a tackle. Pretty solid play right there. Pretty solid play. It's going to be kind of interesting to see these rookies play. Sam Webb had a pretty good game last week, so let's see if he can make a couple plays today. Shout out to you, Clint. Obviously, I appreciate you being here live with me. So shout out to you. I see some comments, some of the new comments. We're going to get into some more of those. 2nd and 7. It's crazy because they have the ball at the 6-yard line, and they're already at the 26, right? And Wilson just threw it deep, and that's a pass interference on Sam Webb. Damn, they're already going to be at like the 47-yard line. That's crazy right there, man. That's crazy. The Raiders suck. It's really, really, really sad. The Raiders really suck. And it's like it's not just our offense is very like Devontae Adams heavy. Josh Jacobs, 3 runs, right? Josh Jacobs really only runs it like for 3 different types of runs because we don't run a lot of zone runs. And I don't know why we don't, because our offensive linemen can block in the zone scheme. And then our defense sucks, obviously, too, right? I mean, look at that. The ball, they already have the ball at the 45-yard line, approaching the 50. The Raiders might lose this game, man. Raiders might lose this game. Jaime, I think it's Jaime Flores. It might be Jamie. I don't think it's Jamie, though. But shout out to you. So thanks for doing the live, kicking in Anchorage, Alaska Airport, listening and watching your channel. Keep it up. That's what's up, man. Where are you headed? Let me know in the comments, man. Where are you headed? Shout out to you. I got to travel more this year. It's one of the things that me and my wife have been kind of talking about. Is try to get out and get out of here. And Sam Webb just allows the catch. But Denzel Perry, I think that was Denzel Perry, and just smacked the quarterback. But he gets the ball out. Let's see if that was Perryman. It was Denzel Perryman. He absolutely crushed Russell Wilson, and Cortland Sutton just gave it to Sam Webb right there, man. Hit the outside in. Yeah, man, it's going to be sad for the Raiders if they can't improve this defense. Obviously, Nate Hobbs should be back soon here for the Raiders, probably next week, I'm going to assume. Although I think he was eligible to come back this game. Don't quote me on that. I think this was the first game he was eligible to come back, but he is out. And for the Raiders, our secondary is not very good. Our defense in general isn't very good. Tillery's playing, though, I think. I think that was him right there. Is that number 90? I think that's Tillery. There he is. Yep, number 90. Made a tackle, man. Only a 2-yard gain. Don't get that often. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Penalty killed that drive. Always kills that. The Raiders got to stop getting penalties, man. Yeah, penalties really, really, really kill us. Even right now on the defensive side, it's the penalties that have man, Sam Webb is getting cooked. Holy crap. Who is that just caught that touchdown pass? Number 9. Man, Kendall Hinton. Wow. That's yeah. Um, Sam Webb just got cooked. They got to take him out of the game. Can't have that happen. Um, this is the unfortunate part with having a rookie cornerback, right? They're gonna get beat, right? What's it's part of them developing. But when you look at a guy like, for example, Sauce Gardner, right, for the Jets, Sauce Gardner is just a really good football player, right? And you can see the difference between Gardner and someone like Sam Webb, right? If you guys watch their tape and you guys really compare them, and Harmon has to make the tackle and make sure that he doesn't score. That's a touchdown for sure. Yeah, that's terrible. Lewis, you nasty said stop screen plays. You got to run screen plays, man. You got to run them. Thing is, you got to execute them correctly. If the Raiders offensive line cannot figure out who gets out, who takes the front side guy, who takes the backside seal, and who leads, right? If you can't figure that out and do it correctly, then don't run the screen plays. But if you can run the screen plays correctly, it's really like an extension of the run almost, right? Running those screen passes. That too, they force or not force, but they allow you to run those dagger concepts, right? Those deep dig plays where you get right behind those linebackers. So I think for the Raiders, you got to run screen plays. You got to run everything, right? Get a guy in motion on one play, don't hand him the football. Get him in motion on the next play and actually hand him the football, right? So you got to do everything that every other team does, right? But you got to execute it correctly. Shout out to you, House Junkies. Hope you're doing well, man. Big shout out to you. Ashton said, I have Fox, but I can't watch the game. I don't know why. That's weird. If you have Xfinity, I'd highly suggest you check out the Xfinity Stream app. You can literally go to your Google and put an Xfinity Stream, and it'll take you there. You just got to log in real quick. You can even download the app on any app store. Or you can watch it through the streams, right? There's Dofu Sports, NFL Bright, I think is what it was. And the other one's Reddit streams. Google it, man. You can absolutely get any of them. Just like that 33-yard touchdown. So it's officially confirmed. That's terrible, man. Absolutely terrible. Yeah, man. I don't know. You gotta get a stop. Black, angry, and Gray Doubt said he don't need time. This dude ain't no head coach. The writing is on the wall. You guys know I talked to some of the Raiders players. One of the players told me he is not a fan of Josh McDaniels. He said that he's not a good leader. Compared him to Jeff Saturday and said that Jeff Saturday picks his players up, right? He's a leader. People want to play for him. Even a guy like Rich Bisaccia, right? People want to play for those type of coaches. And so that Josh McDaniels not a leader. But although that is true, Josh McDaniels is a good play caller, right? He's a good play designer. I think the issue right now is if he's not a leader, you need someone else in the building that can lead, right? That can fill that void. But it has to be someone at the top level, right? It would have to be like the defensive coach, maybe the head coach, right? And I guess the play actually came back, but Latavius Murray just ran it in for a 1-yard touchdown. So that sucks for if you had Russell Wilson or that Hinton dude, whoever that was, just like that, man. Or if you have Latavius Murray, I guess that's legit if you have him in your fantasy team. But that's ridiculous, man. What was that? 94 yards just like that? The Raiders defense, man, it's something special to be that freaking pathetic. Mike Nixon asked, is Cleveland playing any truth to a rumor I heard earlier that Cleveland and Perryman threw blows and were out last game because of it? It's possible, man. It's possible, but I don't know. Like, isn't Cleveland Farrell like 6'6" and Perryman's like 5'10"? That would and Cleveland Farrell's like 290, right? And Perryman's like what 230, 235. I don't know if that's true. That's a pretty crazy rumor. I'll definitely look into it. I have not heard anything about that. I didn't even just ask a couple of the players. I'm sure someone will tell me if this is factually true or not. I don't know what the hell just happened here. I guess they're gonna show us an ad. It's kind of weird that they're showing an ad here. I hope the stream doesn't go down because of that ad right there. That would be bad. But if it happens, it happens. It is what it is. Uh, Mitcha from Raider Nation Germany. Shout out to you, man, from Germany. Big shout out to you. A lot of Raider fans in Germany, man. I see the statistics. Interesting fact: outside of the USA and I think Mexico, and is number 2. There's a lot of Germany viewers on this channel. So big shout out to all of you guys. You said the season is over anyways. Looking forward to the draft, targeting quarterback or top deep prospect. Personally, and this is my personal opinion. Everyone's going to have their own opinion. I know a lot of people are going to say to go out and get a top quarterback. I know some people are going to say get a top deep prospect. The thing with quarterback, and I'm all for it. I'm all for getting a top quarterback. The reason why you'd want to get a top quarterback is to build your defense, right? Because the difference in the salary cap, right? Derek Carr is going to get about $40 million over the next 3 seasons. A rookie quarterback over the next 3 seasons is going to get $5-6 million, right? So you would technically have $35 million extra dollars. Wow, Amir Abdullah just a 43-yard kick return, but it's coming back. There's a flag. If you were to get a get a quarterback and you go out, you got to sign free agents, a good free agent, Justin Simmons, Roquan Smith, right? DeForest Buckner, get the top defensive players. If you're not going to do that, then you can stick with Derek and get yourself a, Jalen Carter or a Will Anderson or a Brian Breesy from Clemson, right? Get yourself a top defensive player, a defensive prospect, because that's going to make your defense better, and our defense sucks. Without a good defense, no quarterback wins. But if you get a rookie quarterback, you have the cap space to go buy your defense, right? So there's 2 ways to kind of look at it. So it's kind of interesting. The Raiders right here. Let's see what they do. 1st and 10. We're gonna get into. Actually, I appreciate the super chat. I'm gonna actually skip down towards I'm gonna skip some of you guys' comments. I'm gonna actually go down towards, because I know a lot of you guys, man, are talking about the last drive. So let's get into some of these comments. JD said Webb got roasted that drive. He absolutely got killed, man. Abso-freaking-lutely got killed. Yeah, it's ridiculous that our defense is so bad. And, I don't even know how you fix it. Like, I know there's 2 ways to fix it, but are those ways going to work? And you guys see right there, you got the penalty on Mathis. I think that's who it was. Illegal contact on Matt Collins. There it is. That was a bad throw right there by Derek Carr to Devontae Adams. You got to put the ball out in front of Adams. Adams should not be reaching backwards to catch a pass. He should be extending in front of him. You got to throw a better pass right there, Derek. You got to let your guy go get it. It doesn't matter. It's a 1st down regardless. Josh Jacobs right there with a nice 8-yard run. I'm really going to look forward to watching the all-22 tape. Hopefully I can get that later on today, but I really want to watch what the offensive line does, specifically Thayer Munford. That'll be the film breakdown for this week, will be Thayer Munford. Specifically tomorrow, like as soon as I get the tape, I'm going to start breaking down Munford's tape. And that's going to go live as soon as possible, because for the first time, Munford is going to play the entire game at right tackle. So that's a big deal for us, right? I guess Josh Jacobs just ran it for 14 yards on 2nd and 3. I see the play-by-play, but I see the play actually live right now. That's a nice run right there. See if that was Thayer Munford. Could have been Alex Bars right there as well. I will say the one thing with Munford is he's massive. So they're showing the all-20, or they're showing the end zone angle. You see Munford moving number 92. That's a good job. It's a good job, him and Bars. Austin said our defense sucks. Absolute trash. It does, man. It's really trash. Derek said ass cheeks defense. SPG said Carr can't cover out anyone out there, bum. Yeah, man, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Derek Carr throws to Hollins, almost gets the first. Hit stick stepper said we need to trade Cooter Carr for Mariota in the offseason. Say that. I don't know what Cooter Carr is. I don't know what that word means. My bad. Targaryen Tickler said, "Wow, man, see what a real quarterback can do. Russell was dead in the water, but turned it into a touchdown. Kardashian Karens are out of control." It is fact, man. I'll say it, man. I've always said it for like I've said this for 3 years now, right? When I first said it 3 years ago, it was not the popular take. I think I lost hundreds of followers, so subscribers, right? And I started getting a lot of hate from that point forward. Um, the thing with Derek Carr is he can't make plays with his legs, right? Good quarterbacks make plays 35% of the time on their dropbacks. So if they drop back 40 times, 12 to 15 of those, they're going to buy an extra second or two. Sometimes they take off running. Derek Carr can't do that, right? So for Derek Carr, he has to stand in the pocket. The pocket absolutely has to be clean, and his receivers absolutely have to win right out of their break, right? Right out of their break. If a corner's too tight, Derek's not going to throw it. He might get sacked or he may check it down, right? And that is one of the issues with Derek Carr. And we just saw Russell Wilson do the opposite, right? Again, Derek does get out of the pocket sometimes, but it's just inconsistent, right? Raiders 7-5-2-8 said Mariota's Falcons won their 5-6. That's crazy. I don't know how they win, to be honest with you guys, because Mariota's not that good in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying he's better or not better than Derek. I don't know. That's for you guys to decide. He's not that good. Like I don't know how many times he's even had 200 yards passing this year, but he does, extend plays. He does extend drives. They focus on running the football as well, kind of like the Raiders. That to their defense is pretty good, right? Not great, but it's pretty good. It's able to make plays when needed. I think Cordell Patterson may have had a touchdown run today, right? And that's something the Raiders haven't done a lot this year is have good special teams. Oh, wow. Josh Jacobs getting his shoulder down into the linebacker right there. The Raiders haven't had a lot of success on defense and on special teams. I don't think we've done anything on special teams. But the defense, interestingly, in our 2 wins has they've gotten touchdowns in our 2 wins. So maybe the defense just has to score a touchdown every game, and the Raiders will win more often. NFL Bite, Clint said, is the place to go. I don't know. I said Bright. NFL Bite is the place. The Real Honest Raider said, "How'd you like my video about you?" I did not see your video about you. I'll check it out. Let me actually put that down real quick. The Real Honest Raider. I'm sure you probably talk shit or something like that. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you did. It is what it is. I'm not really tripping. It's not a big deal. But I will check it out. House Junkies said our goal line defense is atrocious. I see your video. You said Sanji T suggests the dumbest thing ever. I see your thumb. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna actually I'll watch your video a little bit later on, man. We'll check it out. I actually don't know who you are. I've never seen you before. I've never seen your YouTube channel before. But shout out to you, man. I appreciate the content. Bacteria says, "Stop crying and embrace the tank." Hey, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. I think the Raiders may be tanking. Maybe they're not. Because I don't know if the Raiders finish 2-15. Does Josh McDaniels get fired, right? Or does Josh McDaniels have to try to win, right? So we'll see what ends up happening. I think we're going to probably lose this game unless the Raiders can score right now, because I don't know if our defense is going to be able to get stops, right? So we'll see what ends up happening. Chronic said, "Wow, they let Denver score their first drive touchdown in the season." That's ridiculous. Obviously, I have the audio turned off because we're live here. Josh Daniels, 2nd and 4, picks up the first down. Nice little run right there by Jacobs for 5 yards. Bacteria said, "Get Devontae Adams his stats. That's all that needs to happen." What's interesting is even if the Raiders are going to tank, Devontae Adams wants to be a Hall of Famer. So Devontae Adams is going to get his stats. Devontae Adams is going to get his catches. He's going to get his yards and all that good stuff, because he is looking to basically not. He's looking to not make the Hall of Fame, right? I hope that makes sense. I think Devontae Adams is going to definitely be getting his stats at the end of the first quarter. Raiders are down 7-0, so we'll see what ends up happening as the season kind of continues. Curtis said, "Pathetic." I agree, man. Absolute pathetic. Clint said, "D is playing flag football." sucks because I had hopes for this defense. I really thought that um, that Patrick Graham would come in. Patrick Graham will come to the Raiders and he would fix some things up. Maybe our secondary would look a little bit better because I think that's what Patrick Graham is known for, right? He's known for being able to improve the secondary, and that has not happened here. Although you can argue that um, Nate Hobbs being out, right, our best secondary player, arguably our second best defensive player, does hinder the Raiders, right? Nick 209 said Raiders are good at getting penalties. 92 yards. Yeah, that was too quickly. You got to do a better job, man. Um, Ranger said, "What are you watching the game on?" So I personally watch it on the Xfinity Stream app, which is, in my opinion, it's just the best way to watch football. I don't. A fun fact about me: I have Xfinity, like the actual box. I don't even have it plugged into any of my TVs. I just have the Stream app downloaded on my TVs. So that's how I watch TV, right? I watch it through the apps. I don't watch it with the actual box. Um, so I have it pulled up here on my computer here. So I have the two screens going. On one side, I got the comments. On the other side, I got the actual game. But if you guys don't have access to watch it this way, all right, through like Xfinity or through DirecTV, the alternative is those streaming platforms, like the illegal streams, right? Reddit, you can Google Reddit streams, you can Google NFL Byte, and you'll be able to pull it up that way. Mike said, I remember Kobe taking off on Shaq back in the days. If you have heart and are pissed, who cares about high? I hear you. I definitely hear what you're saying on that one, man. I should not have made that comment about Cleveland and Denzel Perryman. At the end of the day, right, I guess it really doesn't matter. Plus it's like saying, oh, line up Floyd Mayweather against Cleveland Farrell and see what happens, right? Floyd Mayweather's like 5'6" or whatever, right? But most people put their money on him. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. 300 says, was that player on offense or defense? I'm not 100% sure in what you're referencing. I would have loved to get Roquan Smith, man. I think the Raiders have made a massive mistake not getting Roquan Smith because you went for a second and a fifth round pick. You gotta go out and get some superstar players. All right, you gotta go out and get some superstar players. At 1st and 10, the game's officially back. Let's see what happens on this play right here. Derek Carr drops back in shotgun. You got an empty pro. Derek is not able to get out of the pocket. Thayer Munford allows the first sack. You guys wanted Thayer Munford, man. I've been saying it. Jermaine Illumer is better than Thayer Munford. And you guys wanted Thayer Munford. And I'm not sure if that sack right there was on Munford. We'll find out right now. I'm not surprised this is happening because when actually the hold was on Andre James, I think that's who they're kind of showing. Actually, the hold may not have been on Munford. Maybe it was on Andre James or the sack. So we'll see what happened. Actually, the sack was there in Munford. He wasn't able to get out to number 49. That's terrible, man. You got to be able to get the stop right there. Yeah, sucks. All right, let's get into some of these super chats. Shout out to you, Omar. Absolutely, shout out to you. Always appreciate your super chats. 1st and 20. So they actually declined the sack, and I think he just went down again. That's ridiculous, man. If all it takes for you to blitz Derek Carr to get the sack because the O-line can't hold up, Derek can't get out of the pocket. I mean, I don't know, man. Let's see exactly what happens. All right, so they bring 2 extra guys. There's just not enough guys. You got to just throw the football. If there's 5 blockers and they bring 6, there's no way to pick that up. You just throw the football, right? I don't know if someone was open, but there should have been a hot somewhere, right? 2nd and 29. That's ridiculous, man. We're in field goal range too. And now we're gonna run the football. Wow. Absolutely terrible. Omar said, I'm beating a dead horse, but fans don't realize when you 6 first round, when you whiff 6 first rounds, it's the reason we suck. Mayock Gruden said it's back and we're the worst combo in NFL history. I say trade everything and get picks. I agree. There's no defending Mike Mayock and John Gruden, and I don't know why people do it. I don't know why people defend John Gruden and Mike Mayock. The guys had the 4th overall pick. They had the I think it was the 11th or I think it was the 11th pick. We took Ruggs. I don't remember. They took him with that pick. They had the 24th and 27th pick the same year with the Cleveland Farrell. Then they had the 19th pick with the Arnett year. They took Ruggs over Justin Jefferson, right? There were so many players you could have taken to set this franchise forward. Every single one of them were busts. Not saying that what's his name? Ruggs was necessarily a bust, but he never panned out at the end of the day, right? It never worked out for the Raiders. The Raiders going to attempt the field goal with Daniel Carlson. And that was a nice throw, by the way, by Derek Carr. And Daniel Carlson missed the field goal. Terrible. 46 yards, and you can't make the damn field goal. When things go wrong for the Raiders, they go wrong. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, it is what it is. But I agree with you, man. You gotta you can't have all those first round picks and not hit on your first round picks. You absolutely have to be able to hit on your first round picks. Like, we hit on none of them, right? And it's crazy because the year we got Cleveland Farrell, I was saying the Raiders absolutely have to take Josh Allen, Montez Sweat, although Sweat I would not have taken with that 4th overall pick. But I would have taken Josh Allen with the 4th overall pick. And Josh Allen isn't even that good, right? But he's much better than Cleveland Farrell. And Josh Allen, you can say, is probably just as good, if not better, than what Chandler Jones is right now, right? So we wouldn't have drafted Chandler Jones. We would have used that money on Josh Allen, and we would have potentially used that extra money, depending on what you pay Josh Allen, on another defensive player, right? But even then, and I was fine with all the other picks, right? Like the Josh Jacobs, the Jonathan Abram, the Trayvon Mullen. But then even when you took Alex Leatherwood was an absolute terrible pick. You should have taken Christian Darrisaw. You should have taken one of the other guys, right? Samuel Cosmi is a superstar run blocker for the Washington Commanders. I think he won the 2nd round. Absolute beast. And if he improves his pass blocking, which I think he's pretty good in it, but I think he's given up like 6 sacks according to Pro Football Focus. I don't know if that's actually true, right? PFF does their own thing. But I would have taken Samuel Cosmi. I would have taken Christian Darrisaw. I would have taken Tevin Jenkins, although Jenkins is now a right guard. I would have taken a lot of these other guys before I took Alex Leatherwood, obviously, right? It is what it is, right? So yeah, it is what it is. The Real Raider Honest said, the video I made about you was a jab at you for something you said. Nothing too terrible, but I did find what you said a bit silly. So I treated it as such, no offense. I saw your thumbnail, right? I definitely saw it. I'll check it out. I'm definitely going to check it out. I'll definitely respond to it too. So, maybe I'll criticize one of your videos, right? We'll see what happens. But, Jose said, Webb is a rookie. Cut him some slack. Shaking my head. I definitely do. I definitely do. Right. But one of the things we have to realize is when Nate Hobbs came to the Raiders, it was very clear in preseason that this guy looks really good, right? There was a play he made against, I think it was the Seahawks, where I think he was in a cover 3. They tried throwing it deep. He was able to run downfield and intercept the pass. And we knew right away this guy looks good. With Sam Webb, I'm not saying he looks bad. He looked pretty good as well. But Sam Webb, he got smoked this game right now, right? At least he's getting smoked so far. Even last week, he gave up like 7-8 catches. Although a lot of them were in zone coverage, he still gave up catches. I'm not saying that means he's a bust, right? He's a rookie at the end of the day. He can still get way better, and I hope that's what ends up happening, especially since Patrick Graham has handpicked him. The hope is he gets much better, especially after this year, and then he kind of comes back next year, being able to work out in the offseason and those kind of things. Man, the Raiders defense sucks. They're going to score on this drive. You can already just tell. We may get blown out, flat out. We literally may get blown out. That's terrible, man. Nathan said, we miss Hobbs too much. New quarterback soon to win. That's the thing. That's the thing that scares me with the Raiders is if we get a new quarterback, is he going to be legit or are we going to screw him up, right? And it's crazy to me how, 1st and 10 right here, right? 11 minutes, 25 seconds left. Russell Wilson throws it short for 9 yards. It's a simple stick route. So simple. So, like, how do you pick up 9 yards on a stick route? Like, Wilson threw it for like 2 yards. You got to make the tackle right there. That's on Sam Webb for not making the tackle. Obviously, they're going right at the rookie cornerback, and he's not having a good game right now. Rockin' Raiders in 9 years of Carr sucking. King 510 said another sack. AJ Simpson said the offense line sucks in general. Here's the thing with the offensive line, right? Is if you watch those sacks right there and you say, oh, the offensive line just gave up sacks, but then you don't say, well, there's 5 offensive linemen and 6 guys blitzing. You can do the numbers, right? You can think about if there's 6 guys coming and only 5 offensive linemen, that means there's someone out of coverage. There's some sort of alert. There's somewhere you need to get the ball to. What I'm seeing, or I don't have the tape, but based off of what I'm seeing, there's obviously something going on, right? Obviously, maybe they blitzed and they mixed the coverage on the back end, and then Derek didn't feel comfortable throwing it. Something is happening that's not allowing Derek to throw it. When if you bring 6 guys, someone should theoretically be open, right? And Russell Wilson, man, doing some Russell Wilson things right there. Obviously, it's not a touchdown, but yeah, it's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Bacteria said, nah, Derek Carr legs equal weak. He falls down instantly. That's fact, 100% fact. Derek Carr, man, has to be able to break out of some of these plays, right? Like some of these hand, arm, sack type of things. Derek Carr has to be able to break out of them. I'm not seeing that from him right now. He has to be able to say, hey, this guy's potentially going to grab onto me. He has to run through it or stand up and throw the football. I see Josh Allen do that sometimes. I'll see like Kirk Cousins even do that sometimes, right? But again, that's not Derek Carr's game, right? Nick said going to turn off game soon. Hard to watch. It is really, really hard to watch. Like and I love watching Raiders football. Like we can be 0-16. I will tune into that final game. I don't care, right? Because that's I'm very passionate. Like there's nothing in the world that I enjoy doing more than watching Raiders football. Like as a hobby, right? There's absolutely nothing more. And again, 0-16, I will watch the game, right? 3rd and 8, incompletion. The Raiders get off the field. Probably should have been a catch. Probably a slightly bad throw, in my opinion. But it is getting really, really hard to watch, man. Johnson, no attempts to Adams that drive or what? I didn't see anything. And again, one of the things is Derek Carr has to realize who's, here's the unfortunate thing with Derek Carr. I know I'm going to probably go down a dark hole right now, but they're kicking a field goal anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The thing with Derek Carr is, and Adams actually made a comment about this, and you guys can go and listen into Adams' comment. I think this happened in the last week where Devontae Adams said, if I'm double teamed and you see I'm double teamed, that doesn't mean you look away and now you throw it somewhere else. That is something John Gruden used to teach Derek Carr. John Gruden used to tell Derek Carr, if someone's bracketed, look away from that guy and go to the next read, right? Look to the next guy and throw it to the next guy. And that thinking isn't generally incorrect, but when you have Devontae Adams, a bracket doesn't mean you don't throw it to him, right? A bracket doesn't mean a guy shut down, right? You can get past a bracket. That just means that it might be a tighter throw. It might be a little bit harder. But Devontae Adams literally said it. If I'm bracketed and you decide not to throw it to me, well, then I'll have like, one catch or something, or I'll have no catches. He says something like that, right? And I think with Derek Carr, his mindset is fixed that if Devontae Adams or if any receiver is bracketed, I'm not going to throw it to that guy. I'm going to look away. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't do that, right? Patrick Mahomes doesn't do that. Some of the top tier quarterbacks don't do that. If their best player is bracketed, you're still going to find the window, right? Because a lot of these routes have a specific language in these route concepts. For example, if a guy's running a 5-yard in route, there's going to be some sort of concept design in there that, hey, if a guy's underneath, go over the top. If a guy's far up, come underneath. If it's zone and the guy's too far, stop yourself, right? So the receivers and the quarterback have to get on the same page. And at the same time, I think Derek just needs to throw the ball more to Devontae Adams. Adams should have like 15 targets every single game. And I know he had a lot of catches and targets this past game, but Mike said sit Carr to protect him today. This is out. Yeah, it's crazy because I really thought this to myself that if the Raiders do sit Derek Carr, and what's the difference, right? What's the difference if we sit Derek or if we end up losing to the Broncos regardless? And I do think that the Raiders look at it like if Jarrett Stidham comes in and Jarrett Stidham has a solid game, right? Like let's say Stidham goes for imagine if Stidham comes in and has a 300-yard game and the Raiders score 35 points. Just imagine what would happen in the Raider Nation. Right, that hey, Derek Carr hasn't had a 300-yard game in like 800 days, right? I think that was the stat. Don't quote me on that. And then Jarrett Stidham just came in, and then Derek Carr hasn't put up more than 35 points, and Stidham just did it, right? So I think there's a reason why you can't have Derek Carr not play, because if another guy outperforms him, and this was the same thing with Marcus Mariota, right? There was times where Carr kind of got hurt. He was doubtful or whatever, and he ended up playing still, right? Because he, at the end of the day, doesn't want to lose his job. And the ownership group, the coaches, they don't want there to be any doubt, right? Because that's the last thing you want. Believe it or not, and believe this or not, I've had Raiders players and even non-Raider players on Twitter. I have a lot of people that I follow that follow me back, guys in the league, right? Guys like Cole Strange follows me, right? Cole Strange just was the first round pick for the Patriots, one of the best left guards in the NFL, in my opinion. Guys like Tyson Campbell, the cornerback for the Jags, Ali McNeil, the defensive tackle for the Lions, right? A lot of guys follow me. And it's because I posted some of their clips and stuff like that. But a lot of guys, not those guys specifically, a lot of guys have told me some of these things, right? Let me get some water here. 1st and 10, Alex Bars gets called. That's terrible, man. That's absolutely terrible. Can't do that. I don't know. I'm going to get way off topic, just kind of getting into these conversations. Let's get into some of your guys' comments. I'm going to skip to the bottom to see kind of what's going on. But yeah, man, I don't think the Raiders can bench Derek Carr because they don't want him to. You don't want any doubt. If people like me start saying things, and then some of you guys start saying things, and then someone like Raid the Tape starts saying things, and now everyone's saying this same thing, the coaching staff listens and they feel it, right? They're gonna feel that hey, this is what's kind of happening within the Raiders fan base. People are getting upset over this or this. It happened with the Patriots recently with their quarterback, right? They ended up putting in was Bailey Zappi or whatever his name is for the other guy, right? So yeah, it's just kind of something to think about. Jose said the coaching staff sucks. I hope I didn't skip any super chats. I don't think I did. Carr throws it deep to Adams for 23 yards. I see that right there. Yeah, man, we got to play better. I think the Raiders roster is better than what's being produced out there, specifically in terms of our weapons, right? Adams, man, you got to catch that and stay up. It's crazy because the play-by-play to what you guys see on the screen is way faster than what I'm actually watching. So that's kind of interesting. But Adams catches it for 23 yards. That was a really nice pass by Derek to hit Adams, but Adams got to catch it and stay up. You can see Jonathan there; he just lost his balance. Clint sits Ruggs over CD Lamb. That was another one of those questionable ones, man. I was saying to take CD Lamb, and you can't say like, oh, CD Lamb's just really good, and Ruggs wouldn't have been very good because we'll never know. He obviously made that mistake, but Ruggs doing what he did, he had done that in the past. There's videos of Henry Ruggs speeding. I think it was his wife or girlfriend, whoever she is. She posted on YouTube of them speeding, doing what he did, right? Basically, that led to that entire situation. Even then, Ruggs' best friend passed away because he got into a car accident, right? And I don't know why Ruggs would have had those things happen, right? And then still do what he did, right? I think that just kind of shows the stupidity of Henry Ruggs, right? And the Raiders should have realized that pre-draft. This guy's an idiot, right? And they should have taken somebody else, but it is what it is, man. John Gruden wanted him, and he got him. But Josh Jacobs came up. He's limping a little bit. Dell said no point in bringing in a new quarterback with the garbage O line, no run game, and garbage front seven. The thing is like, I do think that our biggest issue right now with the Raiders is, I think there's a couple different things, right? First and foremost, our left tackle in Colton Miller cannot anchor. And if you can't anchor, a guy's going to get close to Derek Carr, and Derek Carr is not the type of quarterback to take off running. Derek Carr is not the type of quarterback that's going to step into a hole and extend a play. Right? Derek Carr doesn't want to go near defenders. He's going to run away from defenders. Right? So I think that's the first issue right there. And then the fact that Colton can't anchor, that's going to just impact Derek right away. Then you got Alex Bars, who misses runs, misses pass blocks. It isn't good in terms of the mental process, right, that you have to have as an offensive line. Then you got a center and left guard who haven't been 100% healthy, right? Or Parms went from left guard to center to right guard back and forth. So there's been a lot of different things that have kind of been happening with the offensive line. And then we're rotating the right tackle position. One thing that it's very clear already to me, and you guys tell me if you guys feel the same way, is Thayer Munford is not it. Like, at least today. Maybe he'll get better next year. But the guy's already given up a sack. And although the sack's not going to officially count because they took the holding penalty, he's already given up a sack this game. They ran a defensive line game. I don't think that was for him to pick up, but he's already missed a block on that running play, right? He's already had some bad reps. And have you guys seen Jermaine Illuminor give up any penalties or anything so far? Any sacks, any hits? Illuminor is much better than Thayer Munford at the right tackle position. Keep in mind, Illuminor is going from right tackle to left tackle. That's ridiculously hard to do. I don't think people realize how difficult that is to go from the right side to the left side. Derek Carr throws it deep, and there's a touchdown. That's an absolute beautiful throw right there. I take that. I'll take that all day. Some of you guys may not have seen it already, but you will see it here in a second. That is it right there, man. That is freaking it. Is that Patrick Surtain who he just hit right there? I think it was. Yeah, man, it's crazy. No, actually, I don't know if that is, but Davante Adams, man, that puts a smile on my face. Man. That's why I watch Raiders football right there, right? It does that, right? It does that for us. So actually, it was Patrick Surtain. I remember on Sportsmanlike Contact on not sure who that's on. I think that's on them, but that's awesome, man. I'm excited. That just pumped me up. That puts a smile on my face right there. Let's get to some of these comments. Teen Raider said, when you lose your footing, you're gonna fall. Not sure what you're referring to, but generally speaking, that is false, or that is correct. I see the play. Foster Moreau versus Dermont Jones out of Ohio State, D tackle. I'm not sure what that was to, but that's a beautiful throw, man. 31 yards, absolute beautiful. Chris Walter said, I love how ownership says, I'm so happy for the job that McDaniels is doing. If you troll, man, I'm gonna block you because I see you're a Chiefs fan. But we'll let it be. We'll keep some dialogue here. I have a couple friends who are Chiefs fans. Shout out to how about those Chiefs? But it is interesting that Mark Davis said that, but you guys got to understand, right? Because for Mark Davis, he's going to look at it like, and we're going to talk about the Davante Adams touchdown here in a second. For Mark Davis, he's going to look at it like, hey, this guy's on a 4-year contract. I paid him, $20 million or whatever he's already paid him, or has to pay him, or is obligated to pay him. Mark Davis doesn't have $20 million sitting around, right? He isn't that wealthy, right? Mark Davis is, in my opinion, and I don't know if this is factually out there, he is one of the poorest owners, right? He doesn't have the capital that a lot of other guys have, because you look at Robert Kraft, and he has this entire brand with cheese and all that other crap that he does, right? Then you look at Jerry Jones, and he has all this other crap going from him in the business aspect. You look at all the other owners around the league, and Mark Davis is the only one that doesn't, right? So yeah, obviously he wants people to be excited from Josh McDaniels. I'm still excited about that touchdown. Mike said Davante is the man. That is fact, man. Davante Adams he's unstoppable, man. I think he's already over 100, right? Let me confirm that really quickly. He has 5 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown. And Daniel Carlson hits the field goal. Yeah, man, that's just crazy. Long Johnson been rotating right tackle since 2011. Um, Yeah, it's crazy. In 2016, we had the best offensive line in the NFL. I think it was Manelik Watson. I think that was who was our right tackle at that time. But even then, we had the best offensive line, and our right tackle was just some average guy, right? That kind of just came in. And I think it was Watson. And then Colton Miller got drafted 2 years later, and Penn switched over to right tackle. Although I don't think he ever actually played right tackle. I think he ended up playing a couple games, was lost for the season. And then we went out and got Trent Brown, who played right tackle, and Colton started kind of developing. But yeah, we have been rotating a lot of right tackles. It's crazy because you look at, the best offensive lines are the best offensive line coaches. And when the Raiders hired our offensive line coach, I had an offensive lineman tell me they don't think this guy is it. And as he kind of came in and started coaching, an offensive lineman told me he did not feel that coach that we brought in, right, Carmen Bracella, it was a good offensive line coach. So take that with a grain of salt. I don't know what it really means, but he did not feel like his scheme is very legit, right? Um, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Just wanted to kind of throw that out there, but. You look at some of the best offensive lines around the league, right? The Eagles, number one offensive line. Their offensive line coach, his name is Jeff Stoutland. If you guys don't know who he is, Google him. Best offensive line coach in the NFL. Um, they drafted Jordan Mailata, I think, in the third or fourth round, and he's their starting left tackle. He's like 26, one of the better left tackles in the NFL. In my opinion, he's better than Colton Miller. But it's these guys, Jeff Stoutland, that's able to develop these guys. They have Jason Kelce, who is the consensus best center in the NFL. He's better than his brother Travis Kelce at his position, right? I think Kelsey's a great tight end, but I think Jason Kelce is a better center than Travis is a tight end. Personal opinion. Um, but Jason Kelce is a future Hall of Famer. He's 33 years old. And the Eagles drafted this guy named Cam Jurgens. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a rookie this year. He played I think it was Nebraska. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm telling you guys this right now. Cam Jurgens in 20 years, you guys can clip this and post it. In 20 years, Cam Jurgens will be a Hall of Famer. The guy played in preseason and was just an absolute superstar. And they took him in the second round, right? You're not going to get a guy that's really good in like the eighth or the seventh round, right? Or in one of these compensatory picks, right? If you're going to take a guy that's your future, you're going to get him first, second round. And they took him in the second round, Cam Jurgens, and he's an absolute superstar. And is Jeff Stoutland that can see these guys, right? And then you look at Bill Callahan for the Browns, and then the Browns have one of the best offensive lines, right? It's ridiculous because then now the Raiders have Carmen Bracillo, and Bracillo's not on the same level as some of these other guys. My whole point in saying that, right, giving you guys this entire essay is, do the Raiders have the coach that's going to develop and allow the Raiders offensive line to have success? Like, will we ever be able to have the line have success? Like, I wouldn't want to draft a developmental prospect like Alex Leatherwood, whoever that's going to be in this next draft, to play right tackle. And let's just say that guy's not good. Let's just say that guy never pans out and he never develops because Carmen Bracillo cannot develop players, right? So it's something to kind of think about in terms of drafting. I personally like Jermaine Illuminor. I know some people don't like him, but Jermaine Illuminor is 27 years old. He's still fairly young. If I ask you guys, what's the bigger issue for the Raiders right now? The right tackle position, the defensive tackle position, the cornerback position, the speed on the Raiders offense. I think among all of those different things, the right tackle position is probably the least of our concern, right? And don't be surprised, because I think Jermaine Illuminor is on a 1-year contract. Don't be surprised if Illuminor ends up re-signing with the Raiders and he's here next year, right? Maybe signs a 1-year contract again for $2-3 million. Because I think the Raiders would rather roll forward with that and getting the best D tackle and the best corner or the best linebacker, right? So just something to kind of think about. Jonathan said the Davis family comes from an old school era of football club owners. Now owners have more assets invested elsewhere. That is fact, right? Obviously, Al Davis was able to buy the Raiders back when he bought them. Probably didn't. I don't even know what the amount was that he paid, right? But it's way different than when billionaire Jeff Bezos comes in and buys the Washington Commanders, All right, Jeff Bezos made all his money doing something else, and he's just buying the NFL team. Or the guy for the Seattle Seahawks, right? I think it was the guy that founded Microsoft. He was the second guy with Bill Gates. Forget his name. That guy comes in and buys the Seahawks, right? He has his entire business doing something else. It does suck for the Raiders, in my opinion. Raiders said Adams TD was wet, but is it enough? We got to do it one more time, right? We got to get a stop here. 2nd and 15. Russell Wilson 10-7, 4 minutes and 15 seconds left. Wilson's in the shotgun. He's in a 3-by-1. Drops back. Got to get there, and there it is. Ooh, oh, come on now. How does that happen right there? You guys will see the play. How does it happen that Balil Nichols is about to sack Russell Wilson, and he's able to just throw it up there, and his running back catches it and picks up 11 yards? That's crazy. I'm surprised they didn't flag him right there for kind of like, I don't know, roughing the passer or whatever, they do nowadays. But that's terrible, man. Big Clit Flex said, we need Bill Musgrave back, best offensive coach. Yeah, it's crazy that we ended up because I think we fired him, and was it after the 2016 season, and we that should be a blindside block right there on Cortland Sutton. Not surprised they're not calling it, but and then they're calling it. There's the flag. Okay, we fired him, and we gave Todd Bowling the job, right? And now you look at Todd Downing for the Titans. He's a pretty good coach, right? He's a pretty good offensive coach. Obviously got arrested the other day for a DUI, but he's a pretty good offensive coach. Obviously for the Raiders, he just wasn't that good at that time. And yeah, man. Samuel Cruz, this thing showed the TD play. I can't show you guys the play because my channel would be taken down. So not something we're able to do. There's the blind side. Ooh, Cleveland Farrell got smacked. That's illegal, though. You can't come back and hit someone like that. There it is, 3rd and 4. It'll be 3rd and 14, or 3rd and 19. I guess it's a personal foul. It'll be a 15-yard. Is it actually a loss of downs, or do they get the first down? Actually, 3rd and 11. I guess it's from the spot. So he didn't have the first down. Regardless, it's 3rd and 11. Shout out to Cleveland Farrell for taking that hit. Bring that one back. Jeremy Gilman said Josh did coach for Denver. That is fact. Josh McDaniels was the Denver Broncos head coach. I think he started, wasn't he like 6-2 or something his first year, and then they finished 8-8, or it was something like that, right? They started off really good, and then someone said it was because they were cheating. They had all the plays or whatever, right? I guess Josh McDaniels was doing that entire cheating thing with the Broncos. I wonder if Josh McDaniels is cheating now, right, with the Raiders, Steve, because I doubt he is, right, 2-7. But maybe he'll do that next year, right? Maybe he'll do that next year. Hopefully the Raiders can get. So there you go. Come on now, how do you? That's ridiculous, man. Russell Wilson runs it. He slides, and Max Crosby apparently falls on top of him, and you're gonna call that. That's terrible, man. That's absolutely terrible. AJ Simpson said, "What about the talent of those offense lines? This offense line doesn't have much talent at all besides Colton Miller and Dylan Parham." That's a good point, right? I definitely hear what you're saying. Let me actually put user in timeout. I hear what you're saying, right? With that, right? You look at the Eagles, right? They have Lane Johnson, who was, I think he was like the 4th overall pick, first round pick. They don't quote me on that. Then they have Isaac Samalo as the right guard. He was like a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick. He wasn't drafted that high. Jason Kelsey, I think he was a 2nd round pick. Don't quote me on that either. Left guard, Landon Dickerson, he was a 2nd round pick just a couple years back. Left tackle was a 3rd round pick. So they've had some good investments, right? And these guys are actually panning out, but they're taking the right guys, right? Lane Johnson was the correct player to take back when he got drafted, because Lane Johnson was a 1st round pick. We took Alex Leatherwood when we could have taken Christian Darrisaw. That was the wrong pick. And it's ridiculous that these NFL guys could not figure that one out. I could have told you that you take Samuel Cosme, you take Christian Darrisaw, you could have taken Tevin Jenkins, and you would have been better off than taking Alex Leatherwood, right? Because I was saying that the entire time, take one of those guys. And John Gruden and Mike Mayock decided not to. And look at where we're at now, right? 2nd and 4, Russell Wilson gets the first downs. 2-minute warning right there. But I understand what you're saying, right? The Raiders' offensive line really doesn't look that good. Colton Miller's not even that good either, to be 100% honest. He doesn't really anchor very well. And I think that's kind of hindering the Raiders. Dylan Parham does definitely look good. I think that was a really, really, really good pickup. Is Max Crosby playing? Max Crosby is playing. But Max Crosby's not playing very well. And it's not that he's not playing very well. He's very inconsistent. You guys know this. Max Crosby's a friend of mine. So I'm a little biased for Max Crosby. He came on my show about 2 years ago. And we talked. I talked to Max Crosby before we actually went live, and he told me like all these different stories about how back in college he used to practice with Andrew Wiley, who's the Chiefs' current starting right tackle. Keep in mind, Eastern Michigan does not, 99.9% of the players don't ever make the NFL. Andrew Wiley, Max Crosby did, and they used to practice against each other, right? They used to make each other better. And he told me all these different stories and stuff like that. He told me that he's one of the reasons why he's developed his hands. He's gotten so good in pass rushing. And you look at Max, and he's really good in pass rushing, but he struggles sometimes at the same time when he goes up against some of the top tier tackles. The Saints had Ryan Ramczyk, I think that's how you say his name, who is a top 7 right tackle, and Crosby didn't do anything against the Saints. You look at even today, I don't think Crosby's done anything, and the Broncos have a pretty good right tackle as well, right? Hopefully Crosby steps up. Hopefully he's able to get some pressure, get some sacks. AJ said, tell me that it's a joke that you think James is that good, bro. You don't mean that. I want to know what he said about James. Let me look into this. I don't see the comment. I see it. Mike Nixon said, AJ, I'd say James and Parham are better than Miller. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. I actually think Andre James is the Raiders' best offensive lineman, and I think a close second is actually Jermaine Illuminor. And I'd say a close third is Dylan Parham. I think those 3 guys are actually better than Colton Miller right now. Specifically because I think Colton is really struggling when it comes to pass protection. He's really struggling in anchoring down. People look at offensive linemen. They'll say 2 things about offensive linemen. They'll say, are they good in run blocking? Are they good in pass blocking? But there's so many different things that go into each of those categories. For example, if you say, is Colton Miller good when it comes to run blocking? Well, are you talking about reaching to the inside? Are you talking about a power block? Maybe it's a down block. Are you talking about a zone where he has to reach to the outside? Are you talking about an outside zone where he may have to pull, right? Where he has to, take 3 steps to his left. All right, there's different aspects of run blocking. Then you look at pass blocking. Is Colton Miller good when it comes to anchoring down in his pass blocking? What about if he's jump setting? Is he quick enough to get there? Or is he too slow to jump set? So you can't have him jump set. What about cut blocks, right? There's 20 different parts of run blocking and pass blocking. And when you look at every single one of those parts, I don't know if Colton Miller's the Raiders' best offensive lineman. I would have said he was last year, but I think he's taken a step back this year. And that's coming from a guy who believes in Colton Miller, right? Colton Miller is actually a friend of mine, right? I talked to him on Instagram, on Twitter. I've had him on the channel before in the past. Colton Miller's a guy that I really like. And, guys do regress sometimes, right? I think Derek Carr's kind of regressed a little bit this year. I think Colton Miller's regressed a little bit this year. And you can make the argument that Andre James, Dylan Parham are better. And now you can even make the argument that Jermaine Illuminor is playing better. I would actually make that argument. Jermaine Illuminor is playing better than Colton Miller is. And I know people are going to kill me for that, right? And they'll clip that and they'll say, oh, he thinks this guy's better than this guy. I'm saying right now, right? Right now, I think you can make the argument that Colton Miller is playing better than Jermaine Illuminor, right? I'm sorry, the other way around. Jermaine Illuminor is playing better than Colton Miller. Either way, 10-7, I think the Raiders called their timeout. We'll see what happens on the other side of that. That call was really, really, really bad, in my opinion. It really was a bad call. Mike said he gets bull rushed constantly, and that's exactly what it means when I say That's exactly what it means when I say Colton Miller cannot anchor down. It's the bull rush, right? A guy gets into Colton Miller's chest and he takes him straight back into Derek Carr. At some point, you got to drop your hips, you got to drop the anchor. Colton Miller doesn't do it consistently. Um, Colton Miller gets beat by power guys, not speed guys, right? So that's another thing to kind of keep in mind. When there's power guys lined up on Colton Miller, he struggles more than when there's speed guys. And that makes sense, right? Colton Miller's much faster than he is powerful, right? I see a guy say, man, we need to cut Carr. I don't know if the Raiders would cut him, like just flat out cut him, unless we have like a top 2 or 3 pick. Even then, I could see Derek Carr willing to restructure, take his contract, and he's guaranteed 40 million. Maybe they pay him 40 and they do it in a way where it's like a $20 million cap hit next year, then 10 million in each of the 2 years after that in terms of dead cap if they cut him, or trade him or whatever, right? Just the same way Jimmy Garoppolo took a pay cut for the Niners. Don't be surprised if the Raiders get a quarterback and Derek's willing to take a restructure, because cutting a quarterback like Carr doesn't make sense, right? You should be able to get at least a second round pick for him. But never say never, right? You never know what ends up happening. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, man. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. Trust, no, bitch, EQZ said, we need to cut everybody, clean house. I don't know about that, man. I do think that the Raiders should consider keeping some of their players. You don't want to say let's just cut Max Crosby and let's cut Nate Hobbs and let's cut Derek Carr, and at some point you got to keep some of your better players. And I see the play-by-play here saying that Russell Wilson deep right to Cortland Sutton for 21 yards on Rockison. This defense is straight trash, man. It's really ridiculous. I'm watching the play right now. 3rd and 8, Russell Wilson drops back, throws it back shoulder to Cortland Sutton on Rockison. Oh, man. It's crazy. Like, our defense is really, really, really bad. Really, really bad. And they blitzed Roger Creamer and Ron Harmon, and it just didn't work. Yeah, it's really crazy because the Raiders offense should score. Theoretically, the Raiders offense, let's see, you got a tight end, gets all the way down to the 6'4" yard line, maybe 6. Theoretically, the Raiders offense should put up 35 points, right? Like we should be able to at least do it one time, right? Realistically, in our 9 games, the Raiders offense should have 6 games of 30 plus more points based off of the investments. Unfortunately for the Raiders, Darren Waller's been out. Hunter Renfro's been out, right? Unfortunately for the Raiders, you have all these guys out, and that's kind of hindered the Raiders on the offensive side. So you can't do anything when your offense is all banged up and all your money's invested on the offense, and then your defense just sucks. Because our players should not theoretically be that bad. Even Adams said Jeremy Gilman, and I'm assuming you're talking to the guy right above you who said we need a clean house. Wilson has enough time to have a pocket picnic, says Andrew Morris. Russell Wilson also moves well in the pocket, and I want you guys to watch it, man. Just watch Russell Wilson in the pocket. Pressure will come from the right, and Wilson will step up to his left. Pressure will come right through the middle, and Wilson will take 4 steps back, right? Russell Wilson does things to help his offensive line. Derek Carr does not. And this is something specifically that I've been told by players, right? By offensive linemen, that Derek Carr does not help his offensive line. Derek Carr makes his offensive line look way worse than it is. Current offensive lineman told me that you look at Josh Allen and his offensive line compared to the Raiders' offensive line. And the Raiders' offensive line has better players than Josh Allen's offensive line. And I actually agree with that. I think the Raiders have better players, but the reason why the Bills' offensive line looks better is because Josh Allen doesn't get sacked. He's able to move, right? So you watch Russell Wilson and kind of how he moves in the pocket, very similar to something Josh Allen can do, right? He can move. And I think maybe that's why the Raiders, maybe that's why it looks like Wilson has more time in the pockets, because he's moving well. And they're going to get the first down. Oh, they fumbled. Oh, 3rd down right there. They fumbled. So the ball should theoretically get placed backwards. The Raiders aren't going to call a timeout. They're going to let them kick the field goal, and we're going to take this game into halftime. I do know at halftime, I'm going to take a quick break, go use the bathroom, grab some water, and we're going to come back. I'm not going to end the stream. We're going to continue this stream, but we'll wait until the actual halftime happens. Mike said, Sanji, would you move on from Colton Miller if possible or move him to right tackle? I would. I 100% would. I know some people are going to say, what the hell did you just say? I would move on from Colton Miller if the Raiders wanted to do that, if we can get out of his contract. Unless he's able to figure out the entire thing with him anchoring down, because it is a massive issue. And I don't know if people really understand this. Colton Miller's a great run blocker. Colton Miller can put people down. Colton Miller can go up against speed rushers and do a good job. But you put those power guys on him and he struggles in anchoring. And if it's different if it's not Derek Carr, right? If it's Justin Fields or Russell Wilson or someone that can move, it might not matter as much. But with Derek Carr, you may need to consider moving on, right? And that's awesome. The Raiders blocked the field goal. I think it was Max Crosby. That's awesome right there. I'm surprised they weren't able to pick that up. 7 and 10, Max Crosby, man. Absolutely. Crosby blocks it. Love that right there by Max Crosby, man. But yeah, I would consider moving on from Colton Miller, but we'd have to have the option of left tackle. Would I move him to right tackle? Possibly, right? Is definitely something to consider. If you're gonna go get a different left tackle, but having good tackles is a must. Having good tackles makes your entire offense 100 times better. It makes your entire offensive line 100 times better. You look at the Chargers. Rashawn Slater, although he's out for the years, one of the best left tackles in the league. They just drafted him in the first round. You look at the Niners. They just paid for one of the best left tackles, right, in Trent Williams. You look at the Chiefs, and the Chiefs from left guard to right tackle have in badass freaking offensive line, but their left tackle sucks, and it makes the offensive line way worse or look way worse than it is. The Chiefs have a top 5 offensive line from left guard to right tackle. All-pro left guard Joe Tooney, all-pro center. I don't think he's all-pro yet, but he'll be an all-pro center. It's Creed Humphrey, second best center in the NFL in my opinion. Right guard, 7th round pick Trey Smith, really good football player. Right tackle, Andrew Wiley, a good enough right tackle, but their left tackle sucks, and it makes the offensive line look worse than it is. Would I move on to Colton Miller? I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind in like 20 minutes, but it is something I would not be opposed to if you can get a good replacement that can anchor down. I thought I might not even go on break, honestly. We might just talk through the half. I thought coming into this year that Colton Miller is about to ascend into a top 5 left tackle. Coming into this year, I said, based off of his last year's tape, he's about to take the next stage or the next step, and he hasn't. He's super, super, super regressed. I think his coaching, offensive line coaching specifically, I think he's regressed because of that. Tom Cable had a certain way of how he did things. He wouldn't let his offensive linemen use certain techniques. He forced offensive linemen to absolutely stick to exactly what he wanted from these guys in terms of their technique. Then you got coaches like the Eagles, Jeff Statler and Bill Callahan, who give the freedom to their offensive linemen to do all these different things, right? Slingshot blocking. They'll let them snatch and trap. They'll let these guys run a bunch of different fold concepts. Our offensive line coach and Tom Cable did not allow that, right? Tom Cable is very strict with how he did his thing. And I don't think Carmen Brasillo has figured out exactly how he wants to do his thing, but I do think Colton Miller has regressed because of that, right? Trust said trade him for picks. AJ said no way. Let's talk about this. I know we'll probably get some interesting comments. AJ says you don't think James is struggling handling stunts and communication with blitzing. He gets beat by mid-tier T tackles and short area yardage all the time. I do not think Andre James is struggling that much. He has losing reps. All right. I'm not saying Andre James has 0 losing reps this year. Andre James has losing reps for sure, for a fact. All right. But Andre James isn't a bad center at all. I think he's a top 10 center. And I say that because I've watched, I'd say out of the 32 NFL teams, Najee Harris scored a 19. Out of the 32 NFL teams, I've watched probably 26 of their offensive lines, and that's every week, right? I don't watch all 26 every week, but I watch. I would say, about 11 to 14 offensive lines every week, right? I do that for my second channel. And I don't think Andre James is nearly as bad of a center as some of the other teams have, right? You can look at the Giant center is not as good. You can look at the Bears and Sam Mustipher. He's not as good as Andre James. What other team is there? I don't know on the top of my head, but there's a lot of centers in the league that aren't as good as Andre James. I think Andre James is by far not the worst player to have on your roster as a center. And I don't think he struggles in terms of picking up blitzes. I don't think he struggles in his communication. I think Andre James has done a fantastic job. Keep in mind, this is only his second year starting. I know this is his fourth year in the league. I think it's fourth year, but it's only technically Andre James' second year starting. He's going to get better over time, better and better and better. He'll get stronger, but he's going to continue to improve in terms of his mental processing. So keep all that in mind. Plus, if you watch every snap, right, there's like 50 snaps in a game. If you watch every snap, he does his job in most of those snaps, right? Again, that doesn't mean he doesn't lose, right? Let's just be honest. Dale Jr. said, I'd keep Carr for $10 million. I would too. If Derek Carr took $10 million, I will start Derek Carr for the rest of his career. But is Derek Carr going to take $10 million, right? I don't think he would. Raider Game said, recognized Game said, Illuminor is whack, guys. Come on, let's be best. Man, if your name is Game Recognizing Game and you're telling me that Jermaine Illuminor is whack, you got to change your name, man, because Jermaine Illuminor is not whack. Jermaine Illuminor is a good offensive tackle, man. Absolutely good offensive tackle. I see the Patriots had an 84-yard punt return for a touchdown. That happened obviously after I went live, which is fantastic because I have the Patriots defense in every single one of my fantasy football leagues. So shout out to Marcus Jones, who actually I think is the rookie. Correct me if that's wrong. Anyways, Jermaine Illuminor, I think he's a good football player. And I don't, it's not like Jermaine Illuminor pays me, right, to say he's a good football player. It's not like Colton Miller pays me to talk positive or Andre James to talk positive. None of these guys pay me, or none of these guys say anything to me for me to post what I post, right? But this is what I see when I watch the tape. Right? I watch Jermaine Illuminor, and I say this guy hasn't given up a sack since, week 1? Or actually week 2, I take that back. He gave up a sack to Mac week 1. He gave up a sack to J.J. Watt week 2. He hasn't given up a sack since then. Right? He's been a very solid football player. 8 weeks, he hasn't given up a sack, or 7, however long it's been. And you can't say the same about some of our other players, right? Yeah, that's just my opinion, right? Akuro said, how does Webb stink that bad after last week? And can we stop fouling? Sam Webb is not it. Is what it is, right? We actually did his film breakdown on the channel, and in that video at the very end, I said it. I said, I don't think Sam Webb looked that great. He had some good impactful plays, but he needs to continue to develop. And I'll say the same thing right now. He has to develop still, right? He's a rookie. He has to get better. This is his second. This isn't actually. I think this is his 4th game playing, but this is his 2nd game actually starting. So he has a lot of development to do, right? And he'll develop over the course of his career, right? It's going to take time, but he will develop. It's going to take time. Now, the thing I will say is he Nate Hobbs good, right? Because Nate Hobbs, we saw in preseason last year, Hobbs was already looking really, really, really good. He might not be Nate Hobbs good, right? Could he be Rock Ya-Sin good? Possibly. We'll see what happens as he kind of develops. Mike said, not saying he is perfect, but think he's a top 10, maybe 8 center in the league. He isn't killing us. I agree. Absolutely agree. Jeremy Gilman said, well, Carr could be a backup. At $10 million, Derek Carr would be a fantastic backup. I don't hate Derek Carr. I have nothing against Derek Carr, but I am a Raider fan before I'm a Derek Carr fan. I'm a Raider fan before I'm a Colton Miller fan. And when I see an issue with the team, I think we need to move forward, right? Or make some sort of adjustment. And I do think Derek Carr is an issue right now because he isn't mobile, right? If Derek Carr making $40 million expects to have a number 1 wide receiver who makes $30 million, a top 5 tight end who makes $15 million, and a top 5 defense, right? Keep in mind, you look at all the defenses in the league that are top 5 right now, and I guarantee you they spend money. They either have spent $20 million on a D tackle, a D end, a linebacker, a safety, or their secondary guard. They have the money invested on the defense. The Raiders don't have that, right? And a big part of that is because we're going to spend starting next year, $40 million on average over the next 3 years. I think it's 36 next year, and then it's like 42, 43 the following 2 years after that. So about 40 million a year for the next 3 years. That's too much money, right? Your quarterback has to make plays if they're getting that type of money, right? In my opinion. So I would like to see the Raiders do something at that position, right? Mike said we have talent in some places, just need to build. That's why I'd like the top 5 pick. I 100% agree, man. 100% agree. You get a top 5 pick, you should be able to theoretically get yourself a really, really good defensive tackle or a defensive end with a top 5 pick. You can also get a quarterback, right? You can get a quarterback, and then you can go forward with, you'll have $40 million possibly from getting rid of Carr. You'll have a rookie quarterback making $5 million, and then you should theoretically be able to go sign the top free agents. Rather that's Jalen Ramsey or rather that's Jesse Bates, right? Rather that's Anthony Harris or whoever else it may be. Theoretically, you would have the cap. You will have the ability to go out and get some of these guys, right? Because the defense is really, really bad right now. And I understand why some people say trade Waller. I would disagree with it, right? I would disagree with getting rid of Waller. If anything, get rid of Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow is he's an average wide receiver. Matt Collins is just as good as Hunter Renfrow. There's not a difference between the two guys. I know Renfro's smarter and you might be able to do more things, but is Renfrow going to run a 70-yard or a post route and catch it for a 70-yard touchdown? No, he's not, right? And I know he's not getting paid a crazy amount of money in terms of wide receivers. But Waller, remember, is 6'6", runs a 4.43 40 or a 4.46 40-yard dash. But that's very rare, right? Not a lot of guys that are 6'6" and that quick. Plus, if Darren Waller was with Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, would Darren Waller be a top 5 offensive player in the entire league, right? With Patrick Mahomes or with Josh Allen? You can make the argument he might be because of his physical attributes, right? I actually did a Darren Waller video recently, and I broke down some of his game. One of the things I noticed with him was when he was healthy, the Raiders were putting him out wide as a wide receiver. And I don't know if that's the best way to use him, right? I do like putting him out wide because he has the mismatch, right, with the cornerbacks. I just think we need to use Waller better. Plus, at this point, are the Raiders tanking? I don't know, right? I think they might be. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to actually go back a couple comments. Jeremy said, how did Raiders beat Denver once but losing right now? This one, I think, is in Denver. So I think that makes a difference. But it's only 10-7, right? Technically, the Raiders could score 2 touchdowns and the Broncos could just get shut out the rest of the game, right? And we finished 21-10 and we win the football game, right? I know they've way outperformed us based off of what I've seen so far in this game. They look way better than us right now. But in the second half, things could flip, right? It's only a 3-point game. So, we'll see what happens. Jonathan Taylor, shout out to you, man. You're a beast as a running back. I said, in order to step up, you need line integrity. And the middle kind of always gets pushed back. I think that's what you're trying to say on pass pro. Yeah, the tackles will run DNs up the field, but if he steps up into someone, and that is fact. All right, that is 100% fact. As a line, you cannot, on the inside specifically, you cannot get pushed back, right? Dylan Parham got pushed back on that play where Derek Carr got sacked last week, right? Where Devontae Adams was running that deep dagger concept. Even then, as you mentioned, right, if you let the defense fans go upfield around the quarterback has to be able to step up. But another thing other than stepping up is you could have a quarterback run, if a guy goes around him, he could run this way, right? I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's different things you can do. One of the things the Chiefs like to do is they'll have their tackles overstep, which allows a guy to the inside, and then they stop him to the inside, and the quarterback rolls out. I think the Raiders may have tried it. There was a play recently where Thayer Munford a 45-degree step, gave the guy the inside. He blocked down, and Carr came around him, and Carr threw it to Adams, and it was an incomplete pass. I think it was against the Saints. I should ask one of the Raiders offensive linemen if that's what they're trying to do. But the teams do that, right? You got all these different things you can kind of do. Guys can overset and let a guy go to the inside. They can stop him, and a quarterback can roll out, and it's designed that specific way. If you guys remember the Chiefs game, right? It was the Chiefs versus the Raiders a couple years back. Jonathan Abram gave up a touchdown on like one of the final plays. We scored a lot of points. We ended up losing. On that play, both of their defensive end both of their offense tackles set out. Our defenseman jumped in, and both of them crashed down. That was by design. And Patrick Mahomes rolled to his right. That was by design. I was talking to Max Crosby about it, and he told me that he thinks that they made, and they should have been a stunt, but the stunt didn't happen for some miscommunication stuff. But yeah, sometimes I get off topic. I start getting into some wacky stuff. So, Dale Jr. said ST talking bad on Max, and Max blocks the field goal. I love Max Crosby, man. You guys, some of you guys don't know this, man. I talk to Max Crosby often, right? Max is a really, really, really good dude. Super humble. He's not one of those guys that's like, that was a beautiful play by Denzel Perryman. First play of the game, tackle for a loss, 5 yards, 6 yards. Beautiful play right there by Denzel Perryman. Max is a great guy, man. Just because I criticize someone, right, does not mean that I am talking shit or that I don't like someone. Rodney said Illuminor left tackle good enough. I don't know, man. I'll have to watch the tape. The thing I would say is Jermaine Illuminor played a lot of guard over the course of his career. And then moving him from guard to the outside is difficult enough to learn the outside position. But then you're telling a guy now go from the right side to the left side and play that outside position. That's difficult as hell. It's hard. I don't know. I know why Illuminor does it, obviously, right? He obviously wants to get paid, right? That's probably a big part of why he's showing all these different positions. Plus, I guess most players don't say, Max Crosby gets a sack, man. That's beautiful. I see it right there. We're about to see the actual play. Let's see what happens. Again, just to kind of end that Illuminor talk, it'll be interesting, man, what ends up happening. And that was a beautiful game right there. If you guys have not seen the play, Mike said Denzel shoots the gap. That was a really nice play. So if you guys haven't seen the sack, look at that game right there. You see Jaylen Brown go right into the running back, through the running back, hits the right tackle. Crosby comes underneath. That right there was a beautifully designed play right there. Absolute beautiful. And you run it with your smartest players, man. Jaylen Brown's a smart player. Max Crosby's a super smart player. Beautiful play right there to force and be able to get off the field, right? Almost blocked the punt. Hopefully that's not a penalty. The Raiders should theoretically have good position right here. And they did call a flag. So 4th and 11, I don't think it should be roughing the punter. If it's roughing the punter, it's going to be a 15 yards, and it'll be the first down. It should not be roughing. Yeah, that should not be roughing. That should just be running into the kicker. That should be 5 yards. We'll see right here what it is. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Never mind. They declined this. It doesn't matter anyways. That was a nice stop by the Raiders defense to get the ball back. Someone said, Mitch said it's weather, not rather. I always get those mixed up. I don't know if you're the one that always comments that. Someone always comments that. That it's weather, not rather. You guys should know this, man. Growing up, English was not my first language, right? I was born and raised here in the USA, right? Cali, Northern Cali. But I didn't grow up speaking English. My parents did not speak to us in English, right? So I struggle with some certain words, right? I'll say, instead of weather, I'll say rather than weather, right? It is what it is, man. Mike said they didn't put Raiders away. They done messed up back. They done messed up our top 5 pick potential, but hopefully the Raiders get a win, right? We got a score right here. Nathan said second half adjustments mean we lose. It's crazy because my brother pointed this out to me once. And I didn't think about it. Over the first like 6 weeks, we were really good. Like we sucked on one half and we were really good in the other half. And he pointed something out that I think makes a lot of sense. The Raiders shut a team out in the first half. I think we've done it like 3 times. We're up like 17-0 twice, 20-0 on another play. What the Raiders end up doing is they stick with the same game plan because it's working. You're up 17-0. And then coming into the second half, the other team has adjusted, but the Raiders keep the same game plan. And so the other team starts tearing us apart. All right. I don't know if that's true, but it's definitely an interesting thing. Hopefully the second half adjustments allow us to win. All right. I do agree, though. Our adjustments at halftime have not always been good. And I think that is possibly why the Raiders lose some games. We'll see what ends up happening, right? We'll see what ends up happening. Keelan Cole, you got to do a better job on those punt returns, man, for reals. But you said Perryman. Perryman looks good, man. Coming back, right? Having that guy that could jump the gap, having a guy that can blitz. I mean, he's fast, he's quick, he's powerful. He's done some good things right there against the run. I have said this, and I'll stick with it. To be honest with you guys, I don't want to change my opinion on it. I've said the Raiders should possibly let Denzel Perryman go. Perryman doesn't play third downs, right? I know a lot of you guys know this. Denzel Perryman does not play third downs. He may today because Divine Diablo's out. But generally speaking, Denzel Perryman does not play third downs. He comes off the field, and I think that's because they look at a guy like Perryman and they say he has some limitations. So we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. The Raiders got to score a touchdown right here. Look at the field position. What, the 47 on our side? I'm going to be on their side right after this play, right? Depending on what happens. I think Jacobs picks up 15 yards. That right there. One of the things that some people have been saying on Twitter is that Josh Jacobs makes the offensive line look better than the offensive line is. I disagree with that. I think the offensive line does a great job. Not saying the offensive line makes Josh Jacobs what he is. I think the Raiders' offensive line is really, really good. You see this 15-yard run. Josh Jacobs just has to hit the hole. That's all he has to do, right? He doesn't have to do anything other than hit the hole. And I think when you design these plays, specifically the power concept the Raiders have, Josh Jacobs has 80 yards right now. That's crazy. But yeah, I think the offensive line does a really good job. All right. I know some people don't like this offensive line. I know some people think this offensive line struggles specifically in the run blocking, but I think they do a really good job. So we'll see what happens. Joel, shout out to you. You said, what's good, Sanjeet? I'm doing really well, man. A little tired today, but I'm doing well, man. I'm excited. Hopefully the Raiders right here can score a touchdown. Should have been a penalty right there, I think, on that play right there to Devontae Adams. Maybe not. It was kind of thrown out of bounds. Adams is pissed. He's saying holding. He's saying guys holding me. I like Devontae Adams' fight, man. There was a play last week that I saw. Colton Miller tripped the guy. Devontae Adams thought the penalty was on him, and he got pissed, man. He went right at the referee, and he started yelling. Kind of interesting. 5 yards, Josh Jacobs. That's offensive line right there, man. It's the scheme. People kill Josh McDaniels, and they say he's not a very good coach, but Josh McDaniels designed some good plays. All right. He might not be a good leader, and I'll say that, right, that he's not a good leader, because I do see that from some of the players, right? They tell me that they don't think Josh McDaniels is a good leader. Doesn't mean he can't have success, right? 3rd and 5. Let's see what the Raiders call right here. It looks like Josh Jacobs loses 16 yards. Is that fact? Is that really fact, or is that a mistake? Runs it to the left. I don't know why the play-by-play said he lost. Yeah. So 4th down. The Raiders will. I'm not sure what happened. 4th and 5. I think they're gonna. I think if they got closer, they would have went for it. If it was like 4th and 2, but I think because he didn't pick up any yards, they're gonna kick the field goal. And they do kick it, and Carlson hits a 52-yard field goal. So AJ said that's a fair point, but as a coach, you should expect the other team to adjust to what you're doing and start calling things differently. That is fact. And I think that is one of the reasons why And that is one of the reasons why people look at Josh McDaniels and say maybe he struggles as a coach a little bit, is because he doesn't make the proper adjustments. I do think adjustments and game management and those type of things is something you learn as a head coach by actually doing it. We look at Jermaine Illuminor went from guard to tackle, right? He's going to get better as a tackle as he does it, as he over the course of his career. Sam Webb, rookie cornerback, he's going to get better with reps. And I think it's the same thing with coaches, right? Head coaches, they get better in certain things. Leadership, you don't get better in leadership, in my opinion. I may be off, right? I'm not a wizard or anything like that knows everything. But Josh McDaniels not being a good leader, I think, could be an issue for the Raiders, right? Assuming maybe they find a leader, maybe they find someone who's an actual leader, a different coach, I should say. Jeremy said the Raiders need to extend Josh Jacobs' contract. It's hard to say that we should, because, and this is my opinion, right? I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with it. The thing with Josh Jacobs' contract is, how much money are we going to continue to invest on the offense before we say we've invested too much, right? Just on the top of my head, right? Between Colton Miller and Andre James, that's $20 million a year. You throw in Devontae Adams as 30, that's now 50 million, right? Add in Derek Carr's contract next year, that's 86 million. Add in 30 million for Waller and Renfro, that's 116 million. If you pay Josh Jacobs another 10, you're looking at like almost $130 million for like 7 players on offense. That's not even just filling the rest of the players, right? You got to fill in the guard spots. You got to fill in the right tackle, your other receivers, backup offensive linemen, backup receivers, fullback, backup running back. At what point have the Raiders put too much money in on the offense? Because in my opinion, right, I'm for that. I'm all for that. But that's assuming the offense actually has success. Because what happens is we're going to put $200 million into the offense. The offense is still going to suck. There's no money in the defense. The defense is still going to suck. And then what happens? We're going to continue to blame the defense, even though there's $200 million invested in the offense. Now, it's different if you invest $150 million and you have a rookie quarterback that may be able to lead, right? That may be a little bit different. I don't know. I do think the Raiders should potentially extend Josh Jacobs' contract, but you'd have to get out of one of the other contracts. Carr, Adams, Renfro, Waller, you got to get rid of one of those guys. You can't have all that money tied in. We're going to talk about third down, 3rd and 5, and the run. I see a super chat came in. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Raider mentality said, I will never accept tanking. Losing can never be accepted by the players. We need to beat these Donkings. Fact. I can care less about the draft pick, man. If Josh McDaniels has the 10th overall pick and he really wants a quarterback, trade up, trade the 10th overall pick, trade Darren Waller, trade another first round pick, move up to the 5th spot and take the quarterback you want, because Jalen Carter and Will Anderson Jr., Brian Breesy, the other D tackle, there'll be another corner, another tackle, are all going to go in the top 8, right? Like the second, maybe the 3rd quarterback is still going to be on the board at the 10th overall pick. If you really want a quarterback, take one at the 10th pick, right? But I want to win football games, right? It makes me feel better. It's good for me mentally. I know it's good for a lot of people, right? That the Raiders win. There's a lot of good linebackers in the draft. That is fact. That is 100% fact. Russell Wilson on first down throws it, and the Raiders absolutely stop it. I love that right there, man. Nathan said we are stuck with Jones. We are stuck with Chandler Jones. Can't get out of the contract. Chandler Jones is here to stay. That is fact. His contract has been locked in, right? I think for the next 2 years, 100% locked in. Now, even the 3rd year, I think technically we would lose like $7 million. At this point, you just keep the guy, right? Payson Cunningham, thank you for the super chat. Sid, he ran it on 3rd and 5. What the F? I got to look at the all 22 end zone angle. I didn't see the play. And there's a flag. Max Crosby was offside. So 2nd and 9, it'll be now 2nd and 4. The thing is you run the ball in the hopes to pick up 2 or 3 yards, and then you go for it on 4th down. And it's a way to keep the defense guessing, right? I don't know if you guys know this, but there's these platforms out there. PFF does it. We can't pay for it, but they provide it to teams. Telemetry, I know, is one of them. There's a couple other next gen stats. They measure what your play call is, right? On 1st and 10 plus, on 1st and 5, 2nd and 10 plus, 2nd and 5, 3rd and 5 plus, right? And what happens is teams look at all the data and they know that if it's 3rd and 6, you're going to throw it 100% of the time. Teams are going to not play the run. If it's 3rd and 5, they're not going to play the run, right? So you have to run it sometimes on 3rd and 5, right? I know it didn't work for us on this play, but they would have ran it, got 2 yards, 3 yards, and went for a 4th down. Unfortunately, we get no yards. Now we got to watch the actual play to see who blew the play up, who missed the block, because every play, right, every single play is designed so the Raiders should be able to pick yards up. No one runs a play that's not going to work, right? The Raiders 3rd and inches. I appreciate super chat. 3rd and inches. Let's see if the Raiders can get the stop here. I guess they don't. I already see the play-by-play. Latavius Murray picks up 3 yards. Let's watch the actual play. You just can't do anything, man. Murray is massive. He's like, what, 6'2", 6'3", like 240, 250, whatever he is. He's a massive football player. Even if you lock in and you kind of get a stop on the line of scrimmage, Murray's the type of guy to just run full speed and pick up those yards. Very difficult on 3rd and inches. I will say this: the Raiders need to get that D tackle that's going to take a center and move him back 3 yards, because then Murray makes contact with the center 3 yards into the backfield and he only lands forward for 2 yards. And then it's a loss of 1 yard, right? Yeah, I don't know. Raiders need new O-line and new front seven. Dale Jr. Fact. There's some guys that are serviceable, right? Obviously Cleveland Farrell. I like Andrew Billings. I think Billings is a good rotational player. Cleveland Farrell, if he was not a 4th overall pick, making $10-11 million, he's a good rotational player. Chandler Jones is a good starter, but that's probably where it stops. From there, you need impactful players. You know, having Andrew Billings play once in a while makes sense. Having guys like Chandler Jones maybe rotate in, play like 70% of snaps, that makes sense. But Billings isn't a full-time starter, and I don't even know if Chandler Jones is a full-time starter at this point, right? On the O-line, it's good that Colton Miller can crush a guy. It's good that James can crush a guy. Dylan Parham can crush a guy, but you got to pick up the stunts. You got to anchor down, right? So, you just got to look at which guys you can keep, which guys you need to rebuild on. It does make a big, big difference, right? And Mike said nobody will trade for Jones. That is fact. I think the one thing you could do is you could technically take a lot of his dead cap, right? He's making $17 million a year. You could trade him and tell a team that, hey, we will pay 6 of the $17 million every year. We'll take that as a dead cap. So you guys get Chandler Jones for $11 million, right? You could theoretically work something like that out as long as Chandler Jones structures to that. As long as this team's willing to agree to that and then give you a pick, you could get it out of it. But it's very difficult, right? That's something that a team would have to trade for. A team is willing to do. So it is possible. 4th and 7, great stop right there, 10-10. The Raiders may win this football game, man. The Raiders literally may win this football game. The Raiders got the ball. Cole picks up a couple of yards. Nice little thing. Keelan Cole reminds me of Antonio Brown. This is interesting with that 84 on. Tell me if you guys feel the same way. Reality checks and nobody wants an over-the-hill Chandler Jones, which is fact. No one's going to want Chandler Jones at that contract, $17 million. And it's crazy because Dave Ziegler came here and both Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels paid Chandler Jones. I don't know what they saw right when they put his tape on last year, but in his like 15, 16 games we played last year, 7 of his sacks came in 2 games. I'm not sure if they didn't watch the other 600-700 snaps and determined at some point that he's still a very solid football player or he's worth $17 million, because he isn't worth that, right? There's so many better players. Like Matthew Judon signed not this offseason, but the offseason before with the Patriots. He's getting paid less. And he has like 11, 12 sacks this season. Like I said, he's the number 1 pass rusher right now. I don't know. It was a bad signing in my opinion. Mike said Gannon was the best quarterback we have had for 40 plus years. Some people will tell you Derek Carr is the best quarterback, but I agree with you, Mike. I definitely agree with you. Even Jason Campbell, I 1 year he played, I think he ended up getting hurt. Um, Maybe it was 2 years and he got hurt in the second year, and then we traded for Carson Palmer. But even Jason Campbell is a good football player, right? In terms of like working within the scheme and system, getting it done just when you needed to. I think people kind of overlook him a little bit, but I agree with you, man. Gannon was definitely a really, really good football player. I actually became a fan back watching Gannon, right? That was one of the reasons why I became a fan of the team. That was one of the reasons. I was kind of when I started watching the Raiders. I'm 29 today. So I don't know, like 9, 10 years old, around that time, which was when I became a Raiders fan. It's been now what, over 16, 17 years. A lot of losing, but hopefully that's going to change here. Raiders 7OT said, would you draft Will Anderson Jr. or a quarterback? Um, I would draft a quarterback specifically because I would change the direction of the Raiders the way they are right now. What I would do is I would get out of the Hunter Renfrow contract. One, I would draft a quarterback and get out of, move on from Derek, try to get a draft pick for him. I would take a rookie quarterback and then I would build the defense. Right, keep Devontae Adams, keep Darren Waller, and then I would build the defense. I would go out and get Jesse Bates if he's available. Right, I think the Bengals are trying to move on from him, or he's trying to get paid. So I would trade a second round pick for Jesse Bates. If Jalen Ramsey's available, if some of these other guys may be available, I will trade a first round pick for whoever it is that's a top tier player, and I would build the defense, and I would have a rookie quarterback for the next 5 years with a good defense, and I would build that defense up, and that's how I would move forward with the Raiders. I would become a defensive team because, in my opinion, in order to, you can make the playoffs every 5 years. Like last year, right? The Raiders won 7 games by less than 1 touchdown. Game-winning drives, basically, right? Allowed the Raiders to win 7 games. And it wasn't game-winning drives. Some of them, it was we scored with like 9 minutes left in the game, and then the defense just got to stop, and we were able to run the clock out. But 7 games last year, the Raiders were able to win at the end of the game. At the end of the game last year, and we won 10 games last year and made the playoff. That's not always going to happen. Right, you're not always going to be able to do that because in the next season you might start 2-7. Right. I don't think the Raiders were a playoff team last year in terms of actual playoff success. Right. You look at the Bills. The Bills are going to make the playoffs every year. The Bills can probably lose Josh Allen, and based off of how good the team is, still have a shot to make the playoffs. The Chiefs, they can lose Patrick Mahomes and still probably make the playoffs because they have good teams, they have good rosters, they have a good system, and the Raiders don't have that right now. Right. 3rd and 3 here for the Raiders. I don't even know if you guys are watching the game. A 3rd and 3. I guess you can see the live here. Let me know real quick in the comments below. Are you guys watching the actual game and tuned in here, or are you guys just tuned in here? Maybe you guys don't have the game. Let me know what you guys are saying here. Let me know in the comments. Do know I did so far. I've enjoyed this so far. I may go live every game going forward. We'll see. We'll see if my voice holds up. There's still a lot of football left here. Um, yeah, man. Look at Adams with that option route. I don't think that was a true whip route. I think that was a true option route right there. Nice job, Adams. 6 catches, 106 yards. Efficient too. Only 7 targets. 6 catches on those 7 targets. Adams is going off, so I could dig that right there. I should get into some of these newer comments here. AJ Simpson said Anthony Richardson out of Florida is the guy I would take. I would consider Anthony Richardson for sure. Ooh, Adams took a hit by Justin Simmons right there. I would consider him AR-15, right? I think that's his nickname, although I think he's trying to get away from that. But his nickname, because he's number 15, was AR-15, and I think he's kind of trying to get away from that number right there. But I would consider Anthony Richardson. That should have been an interception right there. I don't know what the hell Derek Carr is doing. That should have been an interception. But I think they threw a flag, obviously. Let's see what that flag is. Unsportsmanlike contact, unsportsmanlike conduct by who? Devontae Adams? Yeah, penalty on Devontae Adams. Yep. Send that back 15 yards. Send that shit back. There you go. Devontae Adams, man. Come on, man. What are you doing? This is the drive, bro. What is he saying right there? If someone can lip read, man. Lip read. Let me know what he's saying. I don't know what he said, but he said something to the referee right there. I would take Anthony Richardson though. I like him. I think some people have said, "Oh, we should just take him in the second round." Richardson's not lasting to the second round. Richardson's going in the first round. I don't know if he'll be a top 10 pick, but he will go in the first round. Penalty. What happened? Or timeout. Um, Yeah, I would take Anthony Richardson. I like him. And I'll be the first to tell you guys, right? Some people talk quarterbacks like, oh, this is my number one quarterback, number two quarterback. And they don't even know what the hell a dragon concept is, or what's the difference between a 5-step drop and a 7-step drop and what it means. They don't know what an offensive line does in a vertical set, a jump set. But they'll tell you who their number one quarterback is. They'll tell you who their number three quarterback is. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't watch quarterbacks like that, right? I did start learning recently in the last month. I do what is called the Scouting Academy. If you guys don't know what that is, Google it. It's legit. You got a couple of former NFL scouts. You got a couple of former NFL GMs, some former coaches that all kind of help with that, right? They make up this Scouting Academy, which a lot of current NFL scouts and GMs and coaches, and not all just in the NFL, right? Some college guys too. That's just a bad thing. Some of these guys do that, right? They go to the football scouting academy, and then they move on and they get jobs into the world. And I'm doing it right now, right? And I'm focused in on quarterbacks. You can do whatever positions you want. In the past, I did offensive line. Today, I'm doing quarterbacks, and I want to learn more about quarterback play, right? It's one of the things that I actually am taking seriously. I want to see what the Raiders do in terms of quarterbacks. I want to be able to criticize Derek Carr, but be honest about it, right? Not be biased about it. So when I do watch some of these college quarterbacks, I'll be able to give you guys a real assessment, right? You got a screenplay, it's not going to go nowhere. Man, what a terrible drive. Terrible drive. The Raiders having 10 points against the Denver Broncos is pathetic. Right? We're like halfway into the third quarter, past halfways, and we have 10 points, and we're one of the highest paid offenses, right? And it's mental mistakes, right? Devontae Adams sends us back 15 yards. Terrible. Let's get into some of these comments. Let's see. Jeremy said Raiders should get Aaron Donald. Fact. The thing with Aaron Donald is Donald is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I don't think Donald is going to ruin, not ruin, it's not the right word, but I don't think he's going to change his career. What a bad play. Who is that? Who was that right there? Number 20, I think it was. The Aaron Donald's not going to impact his whatever it is, right? Whatever you want to use the term. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But Aaron Donald's going to stick with the Rams until he retires, right? He already has this Super Bowl, and now he's going to just stick with that same team. Unless he decides to chase, right? But he's going to stick with the Rams, and the Rams are going to pay him until he gets old, right? Like 35 years old, or whenever he's ready to retire. I don't think the Rams ever move on from him. He just said, talking about our DNs, what happened to Bowers, man? I was excited to see him play in the Reds. I have no idea, to be honest with you. I don't know if he said the wrong thing to the coach, because he had a good preseason. Even Kuntz, I think both guys had like 4 to 6 sacks or something, 4 sacks, I think. I don't know, because Chandler Jones isn't having a lot of success. Now, one thing I do want to state, right? Chandler Jones and Max Crosby play different positions. All right, and it's crazy because I said this to somebody, and they got confused, right? They said both guys are outside linebackers. What are you talking about, right? If you guys look at Chandler Jones specifically plays the 5 technique or outside of that, right? So he'll always line up over a tackle or to the outside. He's always standing up. Sometimes he'll put his hand in the dirt, but he's always playing outside. He never comes to the inside. He'll never play inside the tackle and the 4-eye technique. He'll never play over the guard's outside shoulder in a 3 technique. Max Crosby will, right? Different positions, not the same thing. Kuntz does exactly what Chandler Jones would do, right? Kuntz never plays the Max Crosby position. Bowers plays the Max Crosby position. He doesn't play the Chandler Jones position. So, and same thing with Cleveland Farrell. Cleveland Farrell plays the Max Crosby position, not the other one. Although Cleveland Farrell does play on the outside as well for Chandler Jones. I don't know why Bowers doesn't play, to be honest. I'm gonna assume it's because they already have Farrell and Crosby to play that specific position, and then they have Jones and Kuntz on the other side. So maybe they deactivate him. But I would like to see him play a little bit more, honestly. Why WTF? Why the fuck does Bars play over Simpson? Says Mike. I'm not sure, honestly. It's crazy because when I was told when that move first happened that John Simpson was getting removed, I was actually excited because I did not think John Simpson's very good. And I kind of regret it now because Alex Bars has been even worse than John Simpson. But from what I'm hearing, and I don't know if this is 100% fact, John Simpson's ready to go to his next team, right? John Simpson's not going to be a Raider next year. He's going to go sign elsewhere, and he'll be playing elsewhere next year. John Simpson likely is not going to play another snap for the Raiders. Yeah, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Jason Campbell got hurt that first year and had a good record. He was solid. Thank you for confirming that. He did. Happy birthday. I feel for you. My son is 23, never seen a real Raiders team. It's not my birthday today. I apologize if I said that. Your son is 23 and has never seen a real Raiders team. Although I will say it was actually my son's birthday yesterday, too. He turned 1 year old yesterday. November 19th was when he was born in 2021. I turned 1 year old yesterday. So happy birthday to my beautiful son. But like you said, your son's 23. I'm 29 and I haven't seen the Raiders really win, right? Because I became a fan and I saw that Super Bowl run. And we've seen a couple of good years since then, right? Like 2016, even last year, but it's never felt right, right? 2016 felt right, but last year just didn't feel right, right? I don't know, but hopefully Dave Ziegler and McDaniels get it together for the future. If it's not them, it's gonna suck because we're gonna be like, it's a whole nother 4 to 5 year cycle, right? We hired Gruden in, I think, after the 2017 season. We're in 2022. That's what, 5 years since that thing happened, right? So hopefully the Raiders can get it together, man. I see a player is down, 3rd and 3. Murray ran it on that last play for 4 yards. So let's see what happens on this next play. Austin Taff said Devontae's not going to stay if Derek is gone. That is not true at all. That is 100% false. I don't know why people say things that are not true because, and I'm not saying anything to you, Austin, nothing against you. I'm saying, like, I see this on social media, right? One of the things when you say the Raiders need to move on from Derek Carr, people respond with, well, if you lose Derek Carr, here goes Devontae Adams. You won't get him either. Well, the thing with Devontae Adams is if the Raiders go out and say, Devontae, we just got the number 1 quarterback, right? Bryce Young, and Adams practices with Bryce Young, Adams might say, this guy it's a good quarterback right here, right? There's no reason for Adams to say, I don't want to be here now because Derek Carr is gone, right? If the quarterback's good, if Adams buys into the system, there's no reason why Adams wouldn't necessarily stay, right? 3rd and 3, Russell Wilson steps back and he tosses it 23 yards to Sam Webb. That should have been a pass interference on Cortland Sutton. He punched Sam Webb right in the chest. Another player, man, right there by Sam Webb, giving up a massive catch. Are they? That was a hit by Denzel Perryman. That was just a nice catch right there by Sutton. Yeah, that one sucks because that was the 3rd and 3. That's when you got to get off the field. They're gonna run it on the next play. Yeah, you got to get off the field, man. Austin said he came to Vegas to play with Derek. Nathan said Adams wanted to be a Raider. Yeah, from what I remember, I believe Devontae Adams wanted to be a Raider, right? I believe it's his favorite team. Growing up here in San Mateo, or I think he says East Palo Alto, but he was born in San Mateo. Fun fact, this morning I actually went to San Mateo, went to a farmer's market there, so I was in Devontae Adams' neighborhood. Yeah, so I think Devontae Adams wants to be a Raider. I don't think Devontae does not want to be a Raider. And I think if he buys into the scheming system, I think Devontae Adams stays no matter what. Jeremy said also he was a Raiders fan and wouldn't leave with Derek. I agree. 100% agree with that. AJ said Jason Campbell is one of my favorite Raider quarterbacks. Reasons why I would take Anthony Richardson doesn't mean get rid of Carr. He can sit behind Carr for a few years. I wouldn't disagree with that either. If you're gonna get a quarterback like Richardson, maybe he sits behind Carr for a little bit. I don't mind that either, right? The only thing though is you'd have to restructure Carr's contract in terms of if he can get 40 million guaranteed. I guess it doesn't really matter because it's just 7 million after the second year, right? Going into Anthony Richardson's second year. I guess it doesn't matter. I don't agree. I don't disagree with this. You know what I remember with Jason Campbell? One thing that I remember, he obviously had a knee injury with, I believe it was the Dolphins. And I remember when he came and played the Dolphins in that first year. He had it was like a quarterback boot, but I think it was like a fake play action, and he just ran it in for a touchdown. He went on the loop. And then he did this thing where he's like, my knee is okay. Right? He's pointing to his knee, and he was doing this. Something that I always remember him doing. Tell me if you guys remember that. Daniel, some of you guys remember that for sure. I love Jason Campbell, man. I was one of my favorite quarterbacks, probably because that was the first year the Raiders started having success again, right? So that was a good time for the Raiders. Obviously, was it Hugh Jackson that was our coach at the time that went all in on Carson Palmer? Even Palmer was a good quarterback, but Campbell was more of that game manager, run the football, not many turnovers, kind of like Jacoby Brissett and Geno Smith have been doing this year, right? Don't turn it over. Even Mac Jones has kind of been doing the same thing. Don't turn it over and let's win like that. Campbell was doing that as well. Max Crosby, 3rd and 6, spin move, brings down the quarterback, man. That is beautiful. These are the plays right here, man, that win football games. That's going to take us to the end of the third quarter. What a beautiful job right there by Max Crosby. Absolutely love that right there. I'm going to skip down to some of the more recent comments because I realize people are still talking about the Raiders offense and we're already on defense. Raider Dad said, great work as always, Sanjeet. Not a popular opinion, but I think this staff will move back in the draft as much as possible and get as many system players they can, including restructure Carr's contract. I can see that absolutely happening. I believe I take that back. I believe even this past draft, right? I think the Raiders with the 3rd round pick that they took Dylan Palmer with, tell me if I'm wrong, didn't they trade back and then take Dylan Palmer and they picked up that extra pick? I believe that is what ended up happening this year. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like, let's say we had the 7th overall pick. Let's say 3 quarterbacks go off the board. Let's say 4 quarterbacks go off the board, and the top 3 defensive players, right? Carter, Anderson, whoever the 3rd guys go off the board. I can see the Raiders potentially trading back. Like, I would not be opposed to that either. Whatever the Raiders do, I'm gonna put the faith in this game, in this regime. Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler. I'm gonna trust that they're gonna be able to get it done. Obviously, a lot of it is blind trust, right? Dave Ziegler was not the guy that. Dave Ziegler was a paper GM for the Patriots, the same way Mike Mayock was a paper GM for the Raiders last year, or the last regime, I should say, under John Gruden or above, or however you want to say it, right? Under, above. And Dave Ziegler was that for Bill Belichick. But now Dave Ziegler actually has a team to run, which is great, right? But it's kind of blind trust because we don't know if it's going to work, right? The Chandler Jones signing, if that's an indicator of how it's going to go going forward, it's not going to work then, right? But hopefully it does work. We'll see what ends up happening. I'm all for whatever they do. I'll get behind it, Yeah, man. Let me block this guy real quick. All right. Kuo said no cornerbacks are turning around. Jeez. Yeah, man. That play, it was Sam Webb on this one. I think it was Rockison on the last drive, Sam Webb on this drive. You got to do a better job, man. You got to get your head turned around. But we got off the field, and I think they're going to kick the field goal. They're at the 34-yard line. I think you had 18 yards to a field goal. Don't quote me on that. But from the 34, 18 would be a 52-yard. So see, if it's a 52-yard field goal, then it's 18 yards. It might be a 50-yard, it might be 16 yards. I'm not sure. But I know they add like a certain amount of yards. Yeah, man. So it's going to be interesting. Reality Check said Marquise Tusuyopo. I don't know how to say him. I remember him. Yeah, I remember that name too. It's crazy because I remember a lot of like older Raiders players, that kind of come up. Who was the guy I was just thinking about? It was Reggie McKenzie's first pick. It was the center. that we took. Can't remember his name now, but I was thinking about him a little while ago too. I was thinking, I wonder if he's still in the NFL. They just kicked the 52-yard field goal. Yeah. So like I said, you had 18 yards. So I was right. So it was a 52-yard field goal. That was correct. So that's kind of interesting. They nailed it though. So 13-10. The Raiders gotta, they're gonna have to definitely come out here on the offensive side and get it done. Mike said, I think that Campbell came from the Redskins. Maybe it was against the Redskins. Rye said elbow cough. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was against the Redskins. Or maybe it came. I don't know. I don't remember all that. But Sarah said a D tackle Jordan Davis. Not 100% sure in what that reference is to. Jordan Davis was already picked by the Philadelphia Eagles in the last draft. I think you're referencing the other D tackle for Georgia, which is Jalen Carter. So he's the current guy that's still with Georgia. He was there last year. The three guys they had last year at Georgia was Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Devontae Wyatt. Devontae Wyatt and Jordan Davis already got drafted. Jalen Carter is the D tackle that you now want, and Jalen Carter would be my pick 100%. It's crazy because I was wrong on Jordan Davis, super wrong. The real Jordan Davis, not Jalen Carter. The real Jordan Davis, I was wrong on him. I would have taken Devontae Wyatt over him, and I said that I would take him. And I said I don't know the impact Jordan Davis will have in the NFL because he's not a good pass rusher. But in terms of his run defense, he's a superstar. Arguably one of the best D tackles already in the league in terms of his run defense. And, that's on me, right? I got that wrong, and I'll eat that. It is what it is. I'll take that one. Tony Pollard, 68-yard touchdown reception. I just saw that right now. That sucks because I'm playing him in fantasy football. He has 2 touchdowns, so I'll probably lose. Haven't checked my fantasy scores because we're live here. Mike said, my bad, Sinji. It was his second year he got hurt at 4-2. That first year, it was him and Gronkowski. Yeah, so that's exactly what it was. So yeah, thank you for saying that. Steven Wisniewski, 300 said that. I don't know if you're saying if that was Reggie McKenzie's first pick. Wiz was a good center back in his. I think he was a center, right? Pretty sure he was a center. He was a good center for sure. Don says so many Raiders quarterback. Terrell Pryor is another. That's true. Terrell Pryor is a pretty solid quarterback. Interesting that Terrell Pryor moved to receiver for the Browns and had success for like a year. Like he was one of the better receivers in the league, or at least he was making a lot of plays. And I guess that's kind of what happens if you play quarterback and you go play a different position. You're kind of more intelligent, right? You see things that like from a quarterback's perspective. 2nd and 8. Derek throws it, and it is an incompletion to Matt Collins. 3rd and 8. I hope the Raiders don't go 3-and-out right here, man. That sucks. Jeremy said Devontae is the best wide receiver. I agree. I think Devontae Adams is one of the best wide receivers. I say one of. You can say he is the best. I don't think you're wrong either way. I know some people still like DeAndre Hopkins. Some people like Jamar Chase. Some people like Justin Jefferson. I think that the case could be made for Devontae and Justin. I think those are the two guys that you can make the most case for. They're different players, right? Devontae's not as let's see if Derek gets this. He throws it up to Abdullah, and how do you throw the ball out of bounds? Like, tell me, 4th and 8. How does Derek Carr continue to play quarterback with plays like that? Throw the ball in bounds. What the hell are you doing right now? The pocket's clean, and he throws the ball out of bounds. This is right here why I cannot. This is why I don't like Derek Carr as the Raiders quarterback. You're throwing the ball out of bounds. Throw the ball in bounds. Throw it in bounds. Why are you throwing the ball out of bounds? Like, tell me, can someone answer it right now why Derek Carr throws the ball out of bounds? You're not going to get a first down if you throw the ball out of bounds. It's crazy, man. It's really, 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 really ridiculous, dude. I don't know. I definitely remember the 99-yard touchdown run by Terrell Pryor. Shout out to you, Mario. The camera messed it up. The camera thought it was a handoff to the running back. And they zoomed in on the running back who stuck, and out of nowhere, Terrell Pryor is 50 yards downfield scoring a touchdown. Yeah, that I definitely remember that one. Sunset said Aaron Rodgers. Sunset also said DC is still better than him. I'm not sure if you think Derek Carr is better than Aaron Rodgers, because that's not comparable. Um, Aaron Rodgers is 5 times the quarterback Derek Carr is. Aaron Rodgers is a first ballot Hall of Famer, a top 10 greatest quarterback in terms of just pure talent. I know he doesn't have like the rings and all that stuff, but in terms of pure talent, right, you can't say Derek Carr is not, or Aaron Rodgers is not a top 10 talent in terms of quarterback. Like the guy, he changed the game, in my opinion, right? Before Aaron Rodgers, we didn't have a whole lot of quarterbacks that were getting out of the pocket, that were moving the way he moved. And now it's like every quarterback, if you don't have that Aaron Rodgers ability to get out of the pocket, now they call it the quarterback scramble drill, right? That's the technical term, the quarterback scramble drill. If you can't do that now, you're not going to win, right? That's why one of the reasons why Derek Carr struggles. He can't get out of the pocket. He can't run. He can't move. Now though, you get those quarterbacks that can move. Jalen Hurts, Tua, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Let's see, what other quarterback? Aaron Rodgers, obviously, right? Pretty much most of the good quarterbacks can move. They can get out and they can throw on the run. Derek Carr can't. He can't do it. Jaime said time. Can you confirm if it's Jaime or Jamie? If it's Jaime, say yes, you're saying it correctly. Jaime, I'm gonna assume Jaime Flores. Shout out to you. Say time for Jared Stidham. I agree, 100% agree. It's time, man. Let's just see if Jared Stidham can do something. Let's see if Jared Stidham can keep the ball in bounds. All right, let's just see if he can do that. Mike Nixon said, "Dude, that's the problem with Carr. He's always throws out of bounds. I'd rather have the interception. Uh, there's no one in front of the linebacker, right? There's no one in front of the running back. Put it in bounds, right? Why are you throwing the ball out of bounds?" And I really think this is fact. And tell me if you guys agree with me. Um, I really think Derek Carr has regressed. I think Derek Carr's ball placement has regressed. I think Derek Carr's got worse as a quarterback this year. And that's not on the scheme, that's not on the system. That's not on Josh McDaniels, right? Because the truth is 90% of the offense, 90% of the league calls the same type of concepts, right? You have a receiver run deep as an influence route, you have a guy come underneath. All right, you run the mesh concept, you run the lion or dragon concepts, you run the bow concept. 90% of the league is the same exact stuff. It's the other 10% that makes a coach what a coach is, right? But it's a copycat league. The second Andy Reid creates something new, or Kyle Shanahan, the next coach is going to do that, right? But my point is when Josh McDaniels calls a certain play, Derek Carr has to make that play, right? If you can't throw the ball like that play, I'm pretty sure was a design pass to Amir Abdullah, and Derek Carr throws it out of bounds. What can you do if he can't keep the ball in bounds? And it's crazy because that play right there are the same types of things I see with Derek Carr throughout the course of a game. I don't know. Sal said, "Let's go DC. Can he get it done?" You might be a little delayed, man. You're gonna be disappointed at the end of that. I guess your comment was 4 minutes ago. Bacteria said Carr is trash. Orlando Padilla said, "Where's Carr fans at?" Mike said, "Fucking Derek, do something. Derek gonna cry, gonna knowing the 40 mil is gone." Carr is effing garbage. What's going on, Anthony? Shout out to you, my man. I really appreciate you for see all your stuff that you're posting, all your comments here, your Twitter stuff. Shout out to you, man, for reals. AJ said, responding to Mike, said Trenton Simpson is the best linebacker in the draft. He's similar to Michael Parsons, but guys like Henry Toto, Justin Flo, Marvin Overshown are second, third studs I would take. This year's draft, man, is stacked at the linebacker position. I have not started my draft evaluations yet. Really just watched the guys from last year that have kind of flashed. Henry Toto, for an example. I am pretty sure I'm saying his name wrong. He flashed last year. Jalen Carter obviously was all over the tape when you guys put Georgia tape on. I'll probably start that soon too, man. We gotta get into it, Luigi Raider said Carr losing the game. Anthony said, "Look at Carr every time this dude has no ball control." Fact, man. Sunset said, "Bro lost to the Lions." I don't know who you're talking about. Assuming you're talking about Aaron Rodgers, maybe. You're saying that you're talking about Aaron Rodgers this season specifically. I think Aaron Rodgers is still better than than Derek Carr, even this year. He's came on strong the last 2 games. Demoke said, bro, we need to check the Carr facts. I'm not sure what that means or what that's in reference to, but we need to check the Carr facts. Uh, yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Jaime said yes, so I'm gonna assume that's how it is. Uh, out of bounds. Ooh, I see Jordan Harmon went down. I didn't even see that he went down, but he's been carted off the field. That's not good right there at all. Um, let's see what happened. Oh man, that's like a non-contact injury right there for Harmon. Oh man, that's not good at all. Man, I hope that's not like an ACL injury. It's all bad. Man. Hopefully he's okay, but he's definitely been our most reliable safety. That is 100% fact. Um, damn, that's all bad. Um, he has played like shit. His ball placement is the worst of his career. Always under or overthrown. How many points if he was as accurate as past years? That is fact. Man, Denzel Perryman just blew up another play. Absolutely love that right there. Perryman has stepped up this game. So shout out Denzel Perryman. Um, he's definitely played much worse this year. If the Raiders have had the same Derek Carr that we had over the last 2 years, we're better this year, in my opinion. I think his ball placement has gotten worse. I really think Derek Carr's ball placement has gotten worse. Um, we'll see. Um, Angelo King said, "Bro, I've tried to be patient with Carr, but I can't anymore. CJ Stroud or Bryce Young sounds better." That is fact, man. I would take potential. Ooh, can Chandler? Chandler can't get him. Ooh, we got him. Got him. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. We got him. Russell Wilson goes down right there. Um, that's awesome, man. The Raiders defense stepped up again. um, how crazy is this, man? Oh, Tyler Haw, his first Korean player. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. But how crazy is it that Justin Fields has been an absolute stud this year, like in the last 5 weeks, and even it's more exciting to potentially have CJ Stroud or Young lead this offense, right? Because the Raiders' offense is very talented, man. So many good football players. I think the Raiders, to 10 points deep into the fourth quarter, started the fourth quarter, about 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. That's not acceptable, man. It's just not. It's not. I wonder how many times Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams had 10 points in the fourth quarter with 12 minutes. If someone can find them, and if someone asked Josh Dubow that question, how many times that has happened with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams? 10 points. It's crazy, man. It's absolute crazy. Chris, so why are we not throwing it to Devontae anymore? I think it's probably because of the bracket as well as the fact that they probably have Patrick Surtain on him. Probably something to that tune. They're probably really trying to double him. Royal Sap, shout out to you, man. I know you like Derek Carr. You said y'all run your mouths now, but will praise him in due time. He's missed a total of 7 passes. You're saying this season he's missed 7 passes. I would disagree with that. That's my opinion, right? You have your opinion, I have mine. And we all have our own opinions, right? But I do think that Derek Carr has had a lot of missed passes in terms of ball placement, right? I'll just give you a couple examples right now. So you guys just saw the Amir Abdullah pass. That's one. Against the Chargers week 1, Darren Waller's wide open for a touchdown. Derek Carr throws it behind Darren Waller. And what's his name? Is able to break it up. Should have been a touchdown. Derek Carr throws it behind him. That's 2. Against the Saints, I think it was the Saints, or maybe it was the Jag. I think it was the Jags game. There was a play that there Munford overset. A guy comes to the inside. Munford blocks him down. Carr goes to his right. Adams is coming on a quick slant route. Derek Carr throws it behind him. That's 3. That's just 3 on the top of my head. I'm sure there's way more than 7 passes that were behind, that were overthrown or whatever. You could probably take just 4 off of this game right here, right? Yeah, I don't know. But I will give Derek Carr credit, right? Fact. I will give him credit. If Derek Carr throws a 40-yard touchdown pass back of the end zone, only where Devontae can get it, I will give him credit. I will never not give credit to a guy for making a good play. But I'm also not going to kiss Derek Carr's ass, right? Just because he's the quarterback of the Raiders, right? We have to be able to criticize our guys. Sunset said, "Fire McDaniels, please." I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think Josh McDaniels is an issue for the Raiders. Reality check said McDaniels going nowhere. I agree with that. Jason Down said, "Can Raiders put fans on injured reserve? I need it." That's a funny ass comment, man. That's definitely funny. Raiders 7528 said, "If we win, where do we move in the draft?" I'm really not sure, honestly. It's crazy though because the Raiders have 10 points, and at the top right here, you guys can see the Cowboys at the top of your screen have 37 points. The Cowboys have 37 points against the Vikings. That's crazy, man. Had the Raiders scored 37 points on offense this year, all right, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. Um, I Panda said we have to draft a quarterback. It's plain and simple. There's no free agent quarterbacks I'm taking. Yeah, I don't think so either, man. I don't think there are. Free agency doesn't make sense. If you're gonna get a quarterback, you get a rookie quarterback, you get a top 4 quarterback, right? You don't want to take a guy in the 3rd round and rely on that. You want to get a rookie and you want to build around that guy, right? There you go. Matt Collins got a first down on that play. Michael said, "You sound like a broken record, Tenji." I think I am, man. I really, really do think that. Um, Alex said Gruden was asked to tank last year, but he refused to do so. Is that fact? Right? Because that's definitely an interesting point. I don't know what I do think Mark Davis does want Josh McDaniels to tank this year, right? And maybe he wants to get a quarterback. But I do think that Mark Davis also cares about money over winning. Right. And I hope that makes sense to you guys what I'm saying there. Right. I think Alex Barr sucks, man. 1st and 10, he gets absolutely misses a block. I don't know, man. I don't know why they haven't went with like Lester Cotton. I know why they don't go John Simpson. John Simpson's done with the Raiders, but I don't know why they don't go with potentially Lester Cotton. Like Bar's just flat out missed. How do you miss when you're pulling and the guy's coming like that, right? I don't know. Alex Bars is really, really, really bad in my opinion. Really, really, really bad. The last Dawn said Arizona missed Devontae at the 5-yard line to win the game. It's another one right there. So, did Devontae Adams just drop a pass, or was that behind him? Let's look at this. 3rd and 12. Now it was 2nd and 12. Derek sees Devontae, he throws it, and there it is again. It's behind him. Now I don't know if the coverage dictated that, but that's behind Devontae, right? Is that not? Tell me if that was not behind him. Again, I don't know if the coverage dictated that, like, right? They didn't show it from the other angle. Man, that's interesting. And I have it muted, right? I see something about someone saying something about Devontae wasn't able to hit the brakes or something like that. I don't know. I have the captions on here, but Brian said Derek hit his ceiling. We need to work in a rookie with the bridge quarterback. Well, the bridge could be Derek, and I would not be upset with that. As long as Derek took less money, came down from his $40 million average contract over the next 3 years. If he took less money, and we can still give him the $40 million in terms of guaranteed. I don't care about that. I think if the cap number came down, right? Like let's say Derek took 20 million over the next 3 years, but you only give him 40 million guaranteed, and you guarantee that in the first 2 years. In the first year, maybe you guarantee 30, the second year, guarantee 10. And that way, in the second year, you could potentially move on if the rookie quarterback is legit. Or if he needs 2 years to develop, then you let Derek Carr have those 2 years, right? So I don't know. The Raiders got to definitely consider something because it's not working right now. Derek throws it. Oh, that was a little too far to Keelan. Hopefully that was a hold. So it looks like it was a defensive hold on Keelan Cole. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what people are saying. CJ Sano said there are no quarterbacks in the draft better than DC. This comment right here is a what's the word? Kardashian, right? Is that the right word? Kardashian. This is the typical comp. This is the typical Derek Carr cannot do any wrong, right? No offense to you, CJ Snow, But for you to say that there are no quarterbacks in the draft better than Derek Carr is ridiculous. You haven't even seen any of these quarterbacks in the NFL. If someone said Josh Allen sucks in college because of his college stats, no one would have drafted him, and we wouldn't have the second best quarterback in the NFL right now, right? You don't know if there's no quarterbacks better, because the truth is out of the 5 quarterbacks that are likely going to go in the first round, 3 of those 5 quarterbacks are going to be better than Derek Carr. 2 of them will probably be busts, right? But the fact that you think Derek Carr is such a great quarterback is crazy, because Derek Carr is a very average quarterback, right? And his biggest flaw is really hindering the offense, right? Is the fact that him in the quarterback scramble drill, he's not very good in it, right? He can't get out of the pocket and those type of things, right? Reality check said this is your team, owner, and head coach. Embrace it. That is fact. That is 100% fact. Let's see if the Raiders can score here, man. Josh Jacobs putting in work, 2nd and 4, picks up 7 yards. You got to feed Josh Jacobs. I think he's over 100 yards. He's well over 100. He's at what, one? Let me see that. What is he? 106. Josh Jacobs, man, putting in the work. We got to get Josh a touchdown. We got to close this game out with Josh Jacobs, and hopefully we can get that win. Hopefully, if the defense gets the ball back, if we score a touchdown, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Mike says CJ has a ton of potential. Brandon said DC is trash. I'm gonna get into some of the more recent comments. Anthony said Carr sexual, LOL. Yeah, the names are funny, right? And I don't have anything against you if you support Derek Carr. But if you're blindly supporting Derek Carr, that there's a difference, right? You got to be a little realistic. Derek Carr is very average, right? There's probably like 14 there's 10 quarterbacks guaranteed better. There's another like 8 quarterbacks you can argue, right? Are they better than Derek or are they not, right? Like you can argue between Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr. You can argue between even like Geno Smith at the moment, right? You can argue him and Derek Carr. Although I would say Derek Carr's probably better. You can still argue which one's better or not, right? Again, Derek Carr is very average, and some people think he's like a top. That's trash. Some people think Derek Carr is like a top 5 quarterback or something, right? Derek Carr has a massive flaw, right? And you can't overlook that flaw. CJ said, sorry to disagree, but it's not our biggest need. You don't have to say sorry, man. All good, bro. All good. If you want to support Derek Carr, go for it. It's all good. I support him as our quarterback, but that doesn't mean I don't think we should move on from him. In fact, if the Raiders kept him next year and took a D tackle, DN, I'm all for it too. I will still support Derek Carr, right? That doesn't mean my opinion is going to change. I still think Derek Carr has a big flaw, a big issue, right? Which is he can't get out of the pocket. Quarterback scramble drill, absolute terrible. Derek Carr throws it to Amir Abdullah and he gets 0 yards. That's a terrible job right there. Don, the last Don said Andy Dalton is better than Derek Garbage. Also said Marcus Mariota is doing better. Yeah, man. 164 yards right now from Derek. Yeah, you got to do a better job. Next Gen Electric said just missed a touchdown. I saw the play obviously to Keelan Cole. I didn't see it from like the other angle. I don't really know if like it was actual potential touchdown. It could have been. I think there was a hold, so maybe Derek. Oh, thank God Devontae Adams just tipped that down. Holy crap. Man. All right. Hopefully they kick the field goal here. It's gonna be a long field goal from I think the 39-yard line. 39, so add 18 yards to that. So it's about a 57-yard field goal. Fun fact, man. Fun fact. I'm pretty good in math, man. I can tell you guys what like 18 times 27 is, right? If you guys give me like a couple seconds, like 10 seconds, I'll tell you guys what that is, right? But obviously this one's pretty easy. But yeah, I think a 57-yard field goal. Hopefully he hits this. He already hit it, right? So you guys already see it. It's crazy because I see it to the left here. And he just kicked it now and he nailed it. But then I also already see the score getting updated with what you guys see on the screen, right? All right. So I'm glad the Raiders were able to at least tie the game. Let's get into some of your guys' comments. The last Don said Geno Smith is better than Derek Carr. Just remember last year Carr has been trash and Jacobs and the kicker got into the playoffs. I do agree with that. 100% agree with that. I do think that Not saying Derek Carr didn't do a good job last year, right? When needed, he definitely got it done last year. But I think people only give credit to Derek Carr, and I think some credit should also go to Josh Jacobs, right? I think some of the credit should go to Josh Jacobs and the O line, right? Um, so people are saying Geno Smith is better than Carr. Uh, Dank said JJ turned up at the end of the last season. He absolutely did, man. He really, really did. Mana said, draft UFC quarterback Caleb Williams. I think Williams is not eligible, right? Don't quote me on that. I don't think he's eligible to come out this year. I think he's has to come out the year after. And the thing is we suck this year, right? So if we're gonna draft a quarterback, it might be this year. You know what's interesting? So let's say the Raiders beat the Denver Broncos right now, and let's say we're 3-6, they're 3-6, and let's say they lose the rest of their games, and let's say the Broncos get like the third overall pick or something, and let's say the first two picks just happen to be teams. Let's say one quarterback goes first, and then who what do what do the Broncos do? Do the Broncos get a quarterback? Or do the Broncos take something else? Right? It's going to be interesting if they get like a top 3 or 4 pick, because they paid Russell Wilson all that money, right? They traded a lot for him. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what they do. But yeah, for the Raiders, I think if you're going to take a quarterback, this is the year to take it, right? This would be the year to take it. Sunset say, I don't think he's top 5. I just think he's better than this and can't get more wins than this. And can't I'm gonna see you mean can, maybe, I don't know. Let's get into some more of these. Mike, thank you for confirming. Said Caleb Williams is a sophomore, so Caleb Williams cannot come out this year. He'll have to come out next year. Russell Wilson, 1st and 10, completes it for 3 yards. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting what the Raiders do, man. Some people want them to continue to lose. Some people want the Raiders to win. And it's hard to say, like, yeah, let's win or let's lose, because the Raiders, I get it. I get why you want to tank, right? You want to get a quarterback, get the best quarterback, have the number 2 overall pick. And even if it's not quarterback, right, you get that difference maker. Because the difference between the 4th overall pick and the 2nd or 3rd could be the difference between Quinnen Williams, Nick Bosa, and Cleveland Farrell. Look at the difference between those 3 guys. Nick Bosa is a top 5 to 7 defensive end. Quinnen Williams is a top 5 D tackle, arguably the second best D tackle right now. Cleveland Farrell is not going to get a second contract, right? And that's the difference between the 3rd and 4th overall pick potentially. This year is a little bit different. It's a quarterback heavy draft. Latavius Murray still doing it. You got a stick concept right there. If you guys don't know what that is, it's that quick little concept. One guy goes directly into the flats. The other guy does either a quick hitch, or he has the option to do a outside route as well. So you got a stick concept right there. It's crazy because the stick concept earlier when I mentioned it gained a bunch of yards. Like 9 yards by the tight end, 14 yards. Man, why can't the Raiders do that sometimes? All right. Obviously, I guess it's because you play the Raiders defense. It's a little bit different. Let's go Raiders. Love that, man. Mr. Durant said, let's go Raiders. Defensive holding, but it's a 20. Look at that play right there by Russell Wilson, man. That right there, that play, right? I want you guys to watch that play. That play right there is why Russell Wilson is better than Derek Carr, right? This play right here. When there's pressure around, when the pocket collapses, Russell Wilson gets out. Russell Wilson jumps over someone. He makes a throw and he gets it done, right? Again, I know Russell Wilson's struggling this year, right? But Russell Wilson is still a good quarterback, and you see the plays like that right there. I'm surprised they didn't show the actual throw, but that was a nice job right there, in my opinion, by Russell Wilson. Let's see what happens here. I mean, they're already in field goal range right at this point. They might even just run the clock. If they pick up 2 first downs, game's probably over. So end of the game here. Let's see if the Raiders can get a stop. Interestingly, if the Raiders do get a stop, the Raiders will get the ball with the chance to go downfield and potentially win the football game. If that happens, do you guys think Derek Carr gets it done, or do you think he's not going to be able to get it done? Let's see if we could put into that spot. All right, we'll see what ends up happening. Uh, oh man, let's see what ends up happening. It's gonna be kind of interesting. Um, see some of your guys' comments. Melvin Gordon picks up 4 yards. It's crazy because the Broncos were really relying on their rookie Javonte Williams to take that step for them, and he's been hurt, right? He's out. He's not playing. Um, obviously he's out for the year, but where is Malcolm Kuntz? Kuntz is out. Kuntz is not playing. Oh, no, sorry, think about it. He's not playing because of Chandler Jones. Right? Ziegler's not going to admit the fact that they made that mistake. Dave Ziegler will not admit that Chandler Jones paying him $17 million a year was a mistake. He won't admit it. He's not going to ever admit it. But it was a mistake, in my opinion. He's a good player, but he's not a great player. And I think, and the Raiders just like that get off the field 4th and 4 now. That's it right there, right? The defense stepped up. Defense is helping this. Didn't the Denver Broncos score a touchdown on their first drive of the game, and they have 6 points since that point? The field goal is good. You guys can see it on the play-by-play if you're watching it live. I haven't seen, and I'm sorry if I'm ruining it for you guys that want to watch it live and actually see what happens live. This is one of the reasons why if sometimes I'll have a game on, like I was watching the Falcons game earlier this year, and then I had the NFL Red Zone, but Red Zone is ahead of the actual game, and it would suck because then during the Red Zone part, it'll come on and it'll show you what happens on the play, but you have the volume up to the actual play. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, Malcolm Kuntz does not play because the Raiders GM is not going to admit, right? Because Malcolm Kuntz plays the same position Chandler Jones plays, which is different than the position Max Crosby plays. I explained that a little bit earlier, but just to explain it quickly, the difference is Chandler Jones and Malcolm Kuntz played the same position, which is different than the position that Max Crosby plays. Max Crosby will play on the inside, the 3 technical for a guard. He'll play the 4-eye on the inside of a tackle. He'll play on the outside. Chandler Jones only plays on the outside, and Malcolm Kuntz only plays on the outside. So if you put Kuntz in and you let Kuntz play more, then you're admitting that the Chandler Jones mistake contract was a mistake. You're hoping that he ends up playing well, right? That would be the hope for Dave Ziegler. And Cleveland Farrell plays the Chandler Jones and Max Crosby role. He does both things, so that's why he plays more than Malcolm Kuntz, right? He's a little bit more versatile than Malcolm Kuntz. Don said Russell Wilson is not better than Derek Carr. Russ is washed up. I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. I think Russell Wilson does not have the same type of weapons on the offensive side that Derek Carr does, right? Jerry Judy's okay. He's been not healthy this entire season. Jerry Judy's played, like 5 games this year. Then you look at Cortland Sutton. I think Sutton's not very good. In my opinion, I don't think he's that good. Then Derek Carr has Devontae Adams, one of the best, the best, and the top 2 or 3 defensive tackles. Wide receivers. That's ridiculous right there, man. Devontae Adams has 1 catch for 12 yards in this half. Spread it out, put Devontae Adams in the slot, throw him the football. Simple ass stuff. They have him in the slot right now. Let's see if they actually do throw it to him. Derek rolls out of the pocket. Derek throws it. That's okay. We'll take that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just an opinion, right? Some people will say Russell Wilson's better. Some will say Derek's better. I think Russell Wilson is better, right? That's my opinion. Next gen electric says Russell Wilson is way better than Carr. Potentially way better or just better, right? Derek Carr, let's see if he's actually clutch, right? 13-16. Is Derek Carr gonna get us a field goal, or is Derek Carr gonna go downfield and score a touchdown right now and put us up and win this football game? Let's see right now what it is. The last Don said Carr, the only quarterback to run up to a sack. That's unfortunate, man, because he does do that, right? Joey Bosa told us this in the past. Come on, man. You got to connect right there. Joey Bosa told us in the past, right? Derek Carr curls up into a ball. You got to complete that pass. I don't know what it is with Devontae Adams. You got to catch that ball, man. I don't know. Maybe it was a little too far out. I don't know. It's hard to tell with this angle. You got to get the end zone angle, but yeah, 3rd and 6. Let's hope Derek Carr can get it done. I see some people saying, Carr, what the F was that? Back here said Derek Carr has terrible vision. 3rd and 6. Let's see what they do. Pass incomplete. He throws it deep. Ooh, what the hell was that? He just threw it up there. Um, oh my God, it's ridiculous. I don't disagree with throwing it deep. I have no issue with that. The issue I have is you're throwing it like you're like floating it into the air. It's like a 50-50 ball that you're throwing into double coverage. Um, you got to that's a good play right there by Mathis to track the ball, but um, yeah. Alex said Carr throwing ducks. The Last Dawn said he does that all the time, throws deep up in the air. That's his entire deep ball. It's crazy because I say Derek Carr sucks at throwing it deep, and people throw me these pro football focused stats that he's like a top 5 quarterback and throwing it over 20 yards. 20 yards is not 40 yards, right? There's a big difference between 20 and 40 yards. Right? Throwing a 22-yard pass does not mean shit. Right, 22 yards. Every quarterback in the league can throw 22 yards. Derek Carr is a great passer, or at least he was last season in terms of throwing it 20, 25 yards. I'm talking about 40 yards downfield. This guy floats the ugliest balls. Like some guys throw it straight. This guy throws it upwards, and it just hangs in the air, right? We saw it last week, right, where he threw it up to Amir Abdullah in the end zone, and the ball was way underthrown, but it was like a crazy floater, right? I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell that was by Derek Carr. Game over. Carr, what the F was that? Dink said, yeah, Carr folded up this season. Christian said Carr is not it, bruh. From a panda Ty. Reality check. TJ Watt called Carr out also. I'm gonna check that out. I don't remember seeing that, but I'm not surprised if that factually happened. Joey Bosa said it. Derek Carr curls up into a ball. And it wasn't just Joey Bosa. There was the Athletic article where they talked to uh, general managers and coaches, and they take their opinions of quarterbacks and they rank them before the season. And like 2 years ago, one of the general managers said the thing with Derek Carr is he folds when he gets hit. You hit him once, he panics. He doesn't want to get hit again. He starts, his clock speeds up, right? And those things and Joey Bosa's comment, that doesn't get out of my head, right? Because I see that over and over and over again, right? And there goes Murray right there. Yeah, it looks like Duron Harmon's back on the football field. I'm glad to see that. I don't know if that was mentioned by the broadcast crew earlier, but I'm glad to see number 30 out there. Carr throwing up ducks. Adam should have caught that. It does look like Adam should have caught that last pass, but also do note, if a guy gets his hands on it and he's extended all the way out, that's the only reason he gets his hands on it. You can say maybe it's a little too far up. I got to look at the play again, right? I do agree with you, though. I do agree with that sentiment. I do think Devontae Adams should have caught it. Adams has had some bad drops, man, towards the end of the game. I'm not sure what's going on with him, but there you go right there. You got 92. Perryman, Billings, Neil Farrell. Got a couple of different guys. I'll take that. Panda said he threw a wobbler. Why are we going for that? I agree, man. I totally agree. Anthony said, people, we are not purposely hating on Carr. That quarterback gives us reasons to say he is done. Look at those throws. Look, dude sucks. I don't hate Derek Carr. I hate's a strong word. I don't even hate him as a quarterback, right, for the Raiders. I just think he's very overrated, right? I don't think Derek Carr is anywhere near a top 5 quarterback, right? You can argue, like, for example, Tua is a top 5 quarterback. You can argue that Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. You can argue Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback. There's no argument for Derek Carr being a top 5 quarterback. No argument at all. You can argue he's a top 10 quarterback, but top 10 is not good enough, right? In terms of making the argument, because Derek Carr isn't realistically a top 10 quarterback, right? He's probably closer to like 12 to 15, right? That was a nice tackle right there by Balil Nichols. 2-minute warning. We'll get the ball with one final possession. Royal Sapp said he flat out dropped the ball. Keep it real and the same critique energy. I don't know if that's factually a drop, right? Again, I'm live, man. I got the play. It goes once. I don't have the ability to go back and rewatch it. But some people say if a receiver gets his hands on the ball, it should be a catch. But if a receiver reaches all the way out and it hits his fingertips, that doesn't mean that should be a catch because he barely is able to reach all the way out, extend all the way out. Doesn't mean that should be a catch, right? So it's not guaranteed that it should be a catch if the ball's maybe too far out. I do agree. It looked like maybe it should have been, but again, we'll watch the actual tape. We'll get the end zone angle, or you'll be able to see. Was there a guy in front of Adams potentially, and maybe that's why, or underneath, so that's why Carr threw it a little bit further. That could be true too, right? But we got to watch the actual tape. I'll have to watch the play, be able to rewind it, and go back to actually watch the tape. We'll get the tape later on today, right? I'll get the all 22 coaches tape. We don't rely on NFL Game Pass, which everybody knows is absolute trash. I have a source that sends me the tape, so I'll have it today and I'll post the play, right? That play specifically. So we'll see if it wasn't. Raiders hit another creative way to lose. Punt with 3 minutes left. I don't, you got I think you had 2 timeouts. I don't hate that we punted because our defense has done a pretty decent job, right? Only 16 points so far and only 9 points since the first drive, right? Because they scored a touchdown on the first drive. I think it was the first drive they scored a touchdown. So only 9 points, right? Since that point. A lot of stops, a lot of good things. So I don't hate that we punted. We'll see. We'll see what happens. House said Carr is a choker and cannot pass under pressure. iPanda said, yeah, this offense has been cold, man, since halftime. Shaking my head. We have been pretty bad, but we have 3 points, I think, this half, right? Or 6 points. Whatever. We had 7 points, I think, going into halftime. So Next Gen said Carr needs a change of scenery. So the thing is who's going to take Derek Carr? Right? I think that's a good question to ask. I know Derek Carr's a good quarterback and teams will take him, but I think a lot of teams have their quarterbacks. There's probably like 3 teams that might take Carr. And there's probably like 8 teams that need quarterbacks, right? But out of those 8 teams, some of them are going to want rookies. Some may want Carr, but the better teams, right? The Saints may want Carr. But when it comes to Carr, are those teams going to want Carr, right? Are they going to take him? Or are they going to want to get a rookie too, right? So we'll see what ends up happening. I do like the fact that Derek Carr should start fresh with the new team. I think that's the best way forward for everybody, right? And hopefully that means the Raiders can actually trade for him or trade him and get some picks. 3rd and 10, incomplete pass. Let's go. Derek Carson get one more opportunity to show us his clutchness. Derek Carr has not been clutch this year, right? He has not been clutch this year. Anthony said at this point in the season, just keep him as a starter and we will go from there. I wanted Stidham to start, but no more. Just let this dude play out his career with the Raiders. I think you mean as in like this year, let him play it out. Yeah, and I'm all for that, right? I'm definitely all for that. Just let Derek Carr play. Obviously, if you want to tank, you go with Jared Stidham, right? Obviously, if you're gonna keep Derek Carr as your starter for next season, I think that's kind of what it would make sense. Or maybe if you want to kind of have him go out there to potentially, this stat right here, Derek Carr has 31 game-winning drives in the 4th quarter of overtime. It's so overrated because Derek Carr in the 7 losses, 6 times has had the ball and he's filled every single time. All right. So yeah, I just kind of want to point that out real quick. Let's see if let's see if we can go ahead and win right now. Christian, that's what I'm saying. Offense goes cold the whole second half of games. The second half trash. Mario said Rich Gannon didn't become good till the end of his career. That's a good point right there. Derek throws it to Matt Collins. We'll take that right there. Reality check. Carr is a future failure on an ESPN countdown. I think Derek Carr is going to get one of those jobs at the end of his career. 2nd and 3. Derek Carr steps up. Nice dagger concept to Keelan Cole for 21 yards. A nice throw right there by Derek Carr. I was on Patrick Surtain too. Raiders are cooking, man. They are cooking. All right, 1-3. It looks like we just hit Josh Jacobs for a 43-yard touch or 43-yard pass. Let's see. Let's see. Derek throws it. Josh is open. That's awesome, man. That is awesome right there. I got it. Okay. 6-yard line. 6-yard line. I think the Broncos called the timeout. Doesn't make sense. That is crazy right there. The Raiders already in field goal range, or they're already in range to kick a field goal, but um oh no, they're about to throw it, and their coach saw that. Oh wow. All right, let's go. That was a nice play design right there. I'm glad Derek Carr saw that and he was able to hit Josh Jacobs. 47 got straight burned. How much was that? AJ Simpson said McDaniels finally called the wheel route that worked in the precinct with Abdullah, and Carr saw it. I like those wheel routes right there, man. That was just a nice throw right there by Derek Carr. It's crazy because these are the games right here, right? That the Raiders weren't winning earlier this season. It's the games that they won last year, right? We won seven of these games at the end of the game. So let's see if they can get it right here. Derek Carr drops back. Oh, he gets pressured and it steals over his head. There, Munford has to do a better job. Um, yeah, man, Darren Munford has not had a good game so far. Darren Munford, I got to step up right there. Oh man, I'm nervous. So, see if the Raiders can score right here. Darren Munford, man, it's freaking trash. Hopefully, the Raiders can it's crazy because this data here is so in front, right? Like this right here, it says he throws it on second down to Josh Jacobs. I'm watching the play and Josh Jacobs drops it, almost gets intercepted. Luckily, that doesn't get intercepted. Um, I gotta score a touchdown right here. It's third down. Can't have this game go into overtime, right? This is where we need our quarterback to make a play, or we need our top wide receiver to make a play right now. Dane thinks that I think Waller is legit. I agree. We're not incomplete to Devontae Adams. So sucks, man. They're about to kick a field goal. I would just go for it, honestly. Who cares at this point? Just go for it on 4th and 7. Let's take our shot to potentially score. Yeah, you gotta hold up right there, man. O-line has to hold up. Let's see if they show the replay here. So it's an incomplete pass on third down. You got the end zone angle that they're gonna show. They blitz 49. Thayer Munford loses his block. Damn. And then Derek Carr has to step up because Darren Munford loses. And I didn't see the guy in the middle. I don't know if that was Josh Jacobs' guy. Let me see if I can rewind this real quick. So obviously we kicked the field goal to tie the game. You guys can already see the score. That sucks. That really, really, really sucks. That sucks. I see some of your guys' comments. Ding said Carr got him paid. I'm assuming you're talking about Darren Waller. Anthony said, I hate when Carr floats his passes. Damn. Gun those throws. I Panda Ty said, yo, this shit makes no sense. The last Don said, you can tell everyone else not really trying to win, or is that just Carr being Carr? I don't know, man. I think I don't think the offensive line on that on one of them, Darren Munford just got straight smoked. On the second one, I guess both of them you can see, right? I think first down there Munford got lost, and the third one Carr had to step up. I mean, how many was it? Like 3 plays, and we're downfield. Like at some point, man, our red zone offense has to get better. Right, has to get better. One of the things that a really smart former NFL quarterback told me recently, right, is in order for an offense to have success in the red zone, your quarterback has to make a play. Because red zone offense is very hard. right? Uh, because everything is so condensed, right? Like when you're out in space and there's 50 yards, you can have a receiver run in front of a safety and take him deep. And you can have a receiver release to the outside and the cornerback's eyes turn to the outside and he can't peek to the inside now, right? But when you're in the red zone, everything's boxed in, right? Everyone's looking at the quarterback, everyone's looking to the inside. There's no outside release that's going to turn a guy, right? So a former NFL quarterback told me that a lot of scoring in the red zone comes down to your quarterback may have to just make a play. All right, you may have to design a play where you have your tackle step out and you bait guys to the inside. And sometimes red zone offense could be on a quarterback, right? I don't know if obviously as an former NFL quarterback that's telling me this. And again, I don't know how much of that is why the Raiders don't score, or if our play calling has just sucked in the past, right? They check it off there to there. I think did they let the clock run? We'll see what happens here. But I think we're about to. They called their final timeout. 7 seconds left. Why does it say 1st and 1 here on the thing? Did something crazy happen? I hope not. I hope there was not no like pass interference or something where they get the ball at the 1 yard line. I don't think that's what it is. I think that's just some sort of mistake. Um, let's see what some of these guys are saying. Raiders are tanking. Uh, Carr ain't comfortable. It's hard to watch. Weak protection. I do agree that last play, those last 3 of those plays was weak protection. First down there, Munford got smoked. Even on the other one, Munford got smoked. They're in field goal, not field goal, but they're getting close. 7 yard pass right there. The ball's at 41. They're not going to kick the field goal, but they may take a deep shot. They might have a Hail Mary play right here. So let's see what the Broncos try doing. Protection is fine. Carr sucks. Let's be honest, right? Sometimes the protection good, sometimes it's not. Over the course of this game, it has not looked like an issue to me at all. There were a couple plays early on where they blitzed, but blitzing isn't on the offensive line in terms of if there's 5 guys and you blitz 6, right? That's not on the offensive line. That's on the quarterback to hit his alert or hit his hot route, right? I don't know what that was, but we're going to go into overtime. But even on this last drive, I will say that the offensive line on 1st down there, Munford got whooped. On 3rd down there, Munford got whooped. All right. So, I think the O-line has to do better sometimes, but I also think Carr has to do a lot better sometimes too, right? The last Don said Carr is a con artist, the best salesman in the NFL. Don Rist said, when your offense line gets killed like that, that's right. It is the quarterback's fault. It's crazy, because when the Raiders went all in, right, when they 100% invested to making when the Raiders invested to making this team, right, when the Raiders said we're gonna make this the best offense in the NFL, people weren't saying like, oh, great, the Raiders won the best offense in the NFL. They weren't saying the offensive line because there's no money in it. The offensive line has to be the thing that's going to hold us back, right? People said there's no excuses, right? But it seems like that narrative has shifted a little bit. It looks like there are now excuses, which is the offensive line, right? Having Devontae Adams isn't enough, right? Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow missing games at different points in the season, that's an excuse, right? The defense is an excuse, but it wasn't an excuse when we traded our 1st and 2nd round pick away and invested $100+ million in Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow. Yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy to me sometimes, man. The way, the failures, I should say, of this Raiders team. And it's not all on Derek, right? I'm not saying that. From drafting to, O-line at different times, right? Restarting that rebuild with the O-line. Heads is the call. I think the Raiders get the ball. I have this muted, so I can't tell what the hell they're doing. But I think they get the ball because they're showing Carr and he's giving that nod. So let's go, man. I'll take this. The Raiders are gonna take this downfield right now. And Derek Carr is gonna get it done. We're talking about quarterbacks, Raiders quarterbacks that we've had. So I see some people are talking a little bit about some of the Raiders quarterbacks. The last Don said Aaron Brooks over Derek Carr. That's interesting, man. I don't know. That name was the last name in my mind right now. Um, uh, that's interesting. Jason Campbell. Yeah, it's crazy because the Raiders haven't had a lot of success, but since Rich Gannon was here, we've had some quarterbacks that had some potential, right? Jason Campbell, for example, had potential, and I think Hugh Jackson made a massive mistake. Um, Trading for Carson Palmer. I think we traded like a first and a second or something for Palmer, because we should have just kept Campbell, right? Let him recover. I know I think he tore his ACL or he tore something or he got hurt that had him out for the year. But, I think the Raiders should have definitely kept Campbell and not made the entire decision of going with um, Carson Palmer, Terrell Pryor over Derek Carr potential, but I don't know if I would say that, but I hear you, man. I definitely hear you. Marcus Mariota, uh, you know, what do you guys think? Is there realistically a better quarterback option than Derek Carr? And let's assume, right? Because I think the Raiders are going to win more games, right? I don't think we're going to get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young or I think Tucker from Tennessee, the Tennessee quarterback. I don't think we're going to get those three guys. I think those three guys are going to be the first three quarterbacks gone. I think all three of them are going to go in the top five. I also don't think we're going to get Jalen Carter or Will Anderson. I think those guys are going to be gone in the top six. And I think the Raiders are going to end up with like the eighth or ninth pick. So what's the realistic thing that you guys would do if it was up to you? Would you take the fourth or fifth best quarterback with the 10th overall pick? Would you take would you take a running back with the 10th overall pick, right? What's the guy's name? Is it Brian Robinson? Or is it something else? I know it's the guy from Texas, game changer. Can't think of his name right now, but what do you guys think? Right? What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys see. You said Andre said the Tennessee quarterback towards ACL. I did see that he got hurt. I did not know it was an ACL. That's crazy. That sucks for him. Big time sucks for him. The last Don said Mariota is doing better than Carr. He is winning, right, for sure. But I don't know if I would say Mariota is doing better in terms of like statistics. I don't know. It's hard to say because Mariota makes plays with his legs. 3rd and 12, Mariota builds them out sometimes by picking up the first down with his legs, right? 3rd and 3, Mariota makes plays and he'll pick the first down up, right? So I definitely hear what you're saying, right? Definitely hear what you're saying. I don't know how good Mariota really is, to be honest with you guys. I think I wanted to see more of him with the Raiders, specifically with John Gruden. We never really saw it, and he hasn't had a lot of success. Mariota has arguably the best tight end, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. A good couple of other weapons, right? Drake London, Cordell Patterson. That's not having a lot of success right now either, right? On the offensive side, like not putting up 35 points. Mariota's not throwing for 300 yards. First down, the Raiders run it. Josh Jacobs does not pick up anything there. Could you imagine? Do you guys think Derek Carr's going to get a hit for 300 yards? It's possible that he does. Actually, he has 240 something, I think. Derek Carr has 272 now. He just hit Foster Moreau right through the middle. That was a nice pass right there by Derek to Foster. At the very least, the Raiders should get a field goal, right? At the very least, we should be able to get a field goal right here. And then hopefully the defense can get the stop. But if we score a touchdown, the game's over. Got to put it away, man. Absolutely have to put it away. Mike P said they are tanking and will pick top 3. We might win today, man. There's a chance right now the Raiders might win this game. Thank you, Jude, for confirming. Bijan Robinson, not Brian. I think Brian's the guy that the Washington Commanders drafted. Bijan Robinson's the guy from the Texas. He plays for Texas. And the Raiders have won. Derek Carr threw it up to a wide open Devontae Adams. Let's go. I'm pumped up, man. I'm pumped up. The Las Vegas Raiders have put the game away. Oh man, that right there that's it right there. I want to see that play right there. The Raiders are 3-7. I know some people are gonna be upset, but I'll take that right there all day. Man, Vontae Adams, man, what a game changer. Let's check this out. They're showing the replay right now. He runs a sail concept to the outside. Absolutely crushed it, man. Absolutely crushed it. Let's go, man. All right, let's look at the comments. I know we're gonna get some of these comments. Let's go. Let's look at them. Um, Chris Lewis said Derek threw a spiral. Ooh. Royal Sap said DC chokes, right? Garbage, huh? He can't get it done, huh? He can't step up in the pocket. 31 comebacks overrated. Go Raiders. Um, Hey, we got it done, man. That's all. That's all. That's all that matters. Gustavo said, "Let's effing go." Absolutely, man. The last Don Sim, damn, we just lost our top three pick. You never say never, right? Other teams are gonna win as well. I take the win, man. I'm telling you guys right now, I 100% will take the win. I get it. Some people want to tank. I take the win, man. I'll take it all day. But um, let's go. Devontae Adams is a beast. Let's fucking go by Andre Lopez. Um, Mike said, Sanchi, what do you think of McDaniels' red zone calls? Can you do a breakdown of that? That's a great idea. I can definitely do that. I think I'm gonna wait to finish the scouting school. I'm gonna go through that first. That way I can understand some of the issues that may be happening. But I appreciate that, man. I definitely will. Raider Chris said this team doesn't look like it's tanking to me. Fact, right? If the Raiders wanted to tank, Josh McDaniels doesn't call that play. He doesn't. We wouldn't even have Devontae Adams playing this game, to be honest. Adams, 141 yards, 7 catches, 2 touchdowns. Derek Carr finishes the game 307 yards and 2 touchdowns. 300 yards, man. That's the number right there for Derek Carr, and the Raiders get it done. That's a beautiful job right there. I'm gonna actually stop sharing. Let me hit the stop share button real quick. Let me close this out. Let's go, man. Let's talk about this game now. This give me 1 second. I'm gonna crack something real quick. I'm gonna get into all of you guys' questions. So if you guys have questions, man, leave the questions below. I'm letting you guys know this right now because I'm fired up that the Raiders just won. We're gonna do this again next week for freaking sure, but we're gonna talk. I'm gonna stay on for another 20 minutes or so, and we're gonna talk about this game right here. I just gotta do one thing really quickly. I need to update this. Let's go. All right. Yeah, man, I'm excited, man. That right there was a nice shot. You know what's crazy is I'm actually gonna be super pumped up now to actually watch the tape and actually break it down because we didn't lose. Just so you guys know, some of what I have coming up for this game is first and foremost, I'm gonna 100% do a breakdown of Thayer Munford, break down his entire game. Obviously, based off of what we just watched, I think Darren Munford did have some bad reps, right? I think there was a sack he gave up, although the sack didn't count because of a penalty. And I also think on the final drive where we kicked the field goal in the fourth quarter, he obviously Derek Carr got hit on first and third down because of him. Um, let's get into some of you guys' comments. I Panda said, "Fuck no, I want to win. I hate losing, man. We just played like ass, so we got no choice but to critique the players." Hey, man, at the end of the day, I know people are gonna gotcha, right? They gotcha because you said Derek Carr's average, but he won the game. But they're not gonna give credit to the defense, right? 16 points, which is a solid job, right? But even then, Derek Carr stepped up, got it done when needed, and that's all you can ask for, right? Um, Rodolph Rodolph said Derek gonna get slapped by McDaniels. Um, yeah, man. I don't know, but uh, I appreciate Pyro for you confirming that you guys can hear me because 3 hours and 17 minutes into this, I wasn't sure if you guys could hear me, but I appreciate it. I'm just joking too, man. If you guys don't know, we actually went live for this game. I know there's a lot of people that are kind of tuning in now. We went live for the Raiders and Broncos game. We did the play-by-play, and I'm gonna do it again next week because I really enjoyed it. Really, really exciting. The Raiders obviously get the win, and that's huge for the Las Vegas Raiders, right? Because the Raiders need to pull out some wins, right? If we're gonna sign Jesse Bates, if we're gonna sign some of these top guys, the Raiders have to show that they're a good football team. you got to be able to beat some of the bad teams, right? The Broncos, right? The Texans. You got to be able to beat some of these bad teams if you're gonna sign more players. If you're gonna make guys want to come here, you got to go on some sort of run. Right. And I know it would suck to not have a top 5 pick and you don't make the playoffs. I know it would suck, but there's more to it, right? A culture, winning culture is a big part um of it, right? In my opinion. So I'll take the win. Um, Son or Rivers' defense is going to never get credit. It's understandable, man. I definitely understand it, especially when you kind of watch the game. You watch like those 3rd and 11s. These guys are picking them up, right? Um, but 16 points, right? Never think that. Omar said if we play Denver 17, we would be unstoppable. And that is fact, right? If the Las Vegas Raiders play the Denver Broncos 17 times a season, it's crazy because the Denver Broncos don't they have like a top 3 or 4 defense? So the Raiders got it done, man. 22 points, just enough points, held them to 16, which is just enough points for the defense, and the Raiders get the win, man. I'm fired up. I'm absolutely fired up. Um, Fernando said, did anyone else hate the red zone play calling 1st and goal with 30 seconds left, throwing it every time? That's a good point, man. I didn't really think about that, but Josh Jacobs had let me just check exactly what he had. Josh Jacobs, 24 carries, 109 yards. That's okay, right? In terms of the average. Let me just see what that is. 4.5 yards per attempt. Pretty good average, right? Not a lot of big plays, but uh pretty nice job, right? Cole GT says playoffs, here we come, baby. Say goodbye to that top 3 pick. DC will be our quarterback for the next 5 years now. Um, if the Raiders make the playoffs somehow, that'd be ridiculous. I don't think we're going to, right? I think 10-7, you would barely make the playoffs, and that too, right? You beat the Broncos, they're not a good team, but um, I'll take the W, man. I'll take it all day. I know some people are going to be upset still, right? But I'll take the W because at the end of the day, this is only the 3rd time in our 10 games that we've gotten a W, right? So I will 100% take it. Raider Geo said, let's go, just beat our rivals, and I'm happy. I agree, man. I 100% agree. Let's get all the wins we can. Dang said, let's fucking go. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. China said, couldn't watch the game, but I jumped only to see Sanjeet's reaction. Let's go Raiders. There goes our draft picks. I know some people are going to be upset, man. I get it. Some people are going to be upset that the Raiders are their draft capital is going to be impacted, and it's understandable, right? It does technically suck in that aspect, but I will still take the win, right? We're not going to get a lot of wins this year. Or maybe we'll get 5 wins, maybe we'll get 6 wins, maybe we get 10 wins somehow, right? But a win is a win, and I will take it. And I think you look at some of the younger players on tape, right? You can watch what Thayer Munford did. You can watch Jermaine Illuminor at left tackle. You can watch Andre James. You can watch Crosby and Webb and Perryman. And you can at least evaluate these guys and say that these guys can win football games or they can't, right? And I know we're 3-7. You can still say they're losers, but you can restart starting from last year, right? Because we cut some players. We've started some other guys. And you can say we're 1-1 over the last 2 games after the trade deadline, right? I don't know. It's just a different way to evaluate the team, I should say, right? Um, I see a lot of comments starting to roll in. Mike, I really appreciate you, bro, for reals. I appreciate you tuning in. I'm gonna probably go live again next week. If you guys don't know this, I was live the whole entire game. This video is 3 hours, 22 minutes into it. Next week, I will 100% be live again. So tune in next week too. But I want to get into some of your guys' comments because now that the game is over, I want to, I want to see, right? I want to see what you guys think about it, how you guys kind of felt about it. Some ups and downs throughout the game, right? Derek Carr finished the game strong, had some bad throws, had some good throws. And we're going to talk about all that, right? So we'll talk about it. We'll go for another 20, 30 minutes. Mike Nixon said, I don't care that we won. I still want Carr gone or to reduce his contract. Bye Carr. How do you guys feel about that? I agree with Mike, right? I think Derek Carr has to take a pay cut or the Raiders still get a rookie quarterback, right? But I want to know what you guys think about that. Shout out to you, Mike. Raiders said, Senji, are we still mathematically in it? Technically, yeah, we are. We do have some hard teams coming up still. I know we finished the year with the Niners and the Chiefs. And, that's like playoff seeding, right? Like the Chiefs are going to be fighting for the first spot, the second spot. They're going to want to win that game. It's going to be very important to them. Um, Obviously, the Raiders should theoretically be able to hang with any team based off of the type of team they are. But yeah, we're technically in it, right? We're technically in it. Who knows if the Raiders will actually make playoffs? I get that we beat a bad football team, right? But a win is a win. I will take that all day. Let me know what you guys think, man. Make sure to leave a comment below. Gordon said great team victory, and I think that's spot on. I think that's a really good comment right there because first and foremost on the offensive side, we averaged 4.5 yards per attempt. Derek Carr was sacked twice, although one of those sacks didn't count. He was kept clean pretty much most of the game. Derek Carr also threw for 300 yards, which he hasn't done in 800 days. Think about that. Right? He hasn't thrown for 300 yards in a long time. Or maybe it's 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he doesn't throw for 300 that often. Devontae went off, right? 2 touchdowns. And we played a really clean game, no turnovers. And I think that's a really, really good job. Max Crosby, 2 sacks. The defense held the team to 16 points. I think that's definitely a very, very good team win. Raiders said we still in the playoff hunts. I mean, technically, yeah, right. But are we really going to make the playoffs? I don't know, right? I never lose hope, right? We can be like 1-12, and I'll start giving you guys these scenarios of how we can make the playoffs. But I still will take the win, right? Definitely uplifting to see that our team can beat another NFL club. That too in overtime, right? We got the ball first, right? We get the ball first, and we don't even give the Broncos the opportunity to come back on the field. We just did it. We just won, right? Chef Big Ang said, resign Jacobs and Morrow, trade Waller for defense, and draft all defense first 4 rounds. I wouldn't disagree, right? I wouldn't say I disagree with that. Foster Moreau had 1 catch for 33 yards today. It was a big catch, right? Definitely a big catch on 3 targets. But I don't know. I think Darren Waller is different, right? I think Darren Waller is one of just those physical freaks. Waller is 6'6". He ran a 4.46 40-yard dash. There's probably like 5 people on planet Earth that can do that, right? And don't quote me on that, but Darren Waller is like one of those guys. And I do like the potential of re-signing Jacobs, but I also know the value of that position. Running backs are replaceable, right? They're barely replaceable, and I just don't know if I want to spend 10 mil on Josh Jacobs or 10 mil on an inside linebacker or 10 mil plus another 8 mil on Jesse Bates, one of the best safeties in the NFL, right? So something to kind of consider. I understand what you're saying with the trade Waller part of it, but again, I think getting rid of Hunter Renfro's contract first would make more sense. That's my personal opinion. Will Dunn said, I'm just pissed that they didn't show the game here. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I went live for this entire game, and we'll go live going forward. So tune in next week if the game isn't there for you, and I'll also tell you guys how you can get the game. We kind of got into that at the beginning of this game. There's a couple of streams you guys can use. I saw a comment here a little while ago. We'll come back across it at some point. Williams said the defense always gives us a chance in the end. This time the O rewards them. That is fact. Minus the Saints game, we were 0-6 up until this game where the defense gave the ball to the offense. Even then, technically, right, we only tied the game, and then we ended up scoring in overtime. I'm sure the defense would have gotten a stop regardless. But I agree, right? The defense got the stop. The offense scored. We're 1-7 now in the 8, or I think we're 1-7 in the last 8 games that we had the ball in. 7 of those losses, 6 of those losses, and now it's 7. So I'm glad the Raiders were able to get it. The comment I was looking for was this one here by Jay. He said Perryman was out there flying around. Fact. 100% fact. Denzel Perryman was flying around making plays. And I love that, man. Absolutely love it. Shout out to Denzel Perryman for getting it done. Um, I've been live almost for 3.5 hours. I am going to end this video here, but I'm going to have another video here dropping in about 20-25 minutes. I'm going to actually just, grab some water, use the bathroom, and really think about this win and really break it down a little bit in a separate video. Um, if you guys are just tuning in now, do know we were live for this entire game. So next week, tune in. If you guys could hit the thumbs up button here, I'd appreciate it. And be on the lookout. I'm about to drop another video here in about half an hour. So shout out to all of you guys, man. And we'll see you guys in about 30 minutes.